I'm a winner. I know how to win.
Real good. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's. I got told yesterday I was yelling too much again. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Happy Tuesday to all of you. I hope you all had a lovely Monday morning.
You know, doing the exact opposite will also get you in trouble. Because if you're going to go that, then I'm going to have to change my energy, and I don't know if I want to do that.
You know what we do here on the show, and now at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, it's time for us to do on the show exactly what we do on the show. Welcome in, dudes and dudettes, amigos and amiguettes, friends, family, coworkers, and random assorted people from around the world. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. Let's get it. 4 hours of the most electrifying sports talk entertainment you're going to find anywhere on the radio. How do you do? How do you do, people? I hope that you had a fantastic Monday. I hope you're set up for an even better Tuesday. Here's the thing. None ya can be doing any worse than Sam Darnold, who probably cost himself about $75 million last night.
I don't think that was entirely his fault. It's called an offensive line that cannot block anybody.
Gotta get
on
rid
the
of the
other
ball.
side.
Gotta get rid of the ball. Gotta get rid of the ball. Gotta get rid of the
You're
ball.
really going to blame that on him? Look at that. I mean, dude just went right through the guard and the tackle slot, was untouched. Of course you're going to – I mean, the offensive line looks like they got a little money paid to them by somebody else and said, hey, you know, if you just kind of move to the left just a little bit,
by the way,
we'll be good.
If I may twirl the mustache here for just 1 second, does anybody remember why I said I was picking the LA Rams to win that game? Does anybody remember, if I recall correctly, what I said?
That was a long time ago.
That's okay. I'll refresh you. Don't worry. Happy to do it. If I recall correctly,
you're not nearly as smooth as you think you are. I mean, that was
nothing but the bottom of the can.
I didn't
even touch the sides of the can. Went straight to the floor. Are you kidding me? Let me twirl the old curly mustache here for just a second. And remind you why it is that you all know that Rob Brown knows ball. Rob Brown told you going into that game he was picking the Los Angeles Rams for one reason and one reason alone. Rob Brown said the Detroit Lions put the blueprint for beating Samuel Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings onto film, and that if there was a coach in the league that you don't want to allow to know your kryptonite, it's Sean McVay and the Rams. That is the most, and I say this sincerely, not most talented. I think the LA Rams are the most well-coached team in the National Football League.
Well, there's
top
also
to bottom, left to right, up to down, front
there's
and back.
also a thing called emotion, and when emotion is playing with you, which it is right now, it will take you to a different level.
I agree.
We've seen it happen before on many different levels.
I agree. Listen, I was, and we're going to talk about this later in the show. Dude, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. I understand. I understand that there are times, especially when you are in the midst of catastrophe, that a team who is made up of human beings who feel things and have emotions, at least some of us do, that a team will often shoulder the city. We'll pick the city up and we'll go represent and play for them. I'm a Saints fan. I know that as well, or if not better than anybody else. And emotion has a lot to do with it. There ain't no doubt about that. Has a lot to do with it. But I also want to say, emotion don't mean a damn thing if you ain't got a scheme to put it into, if you don't have a channel for it, right? You can't go out there and play really emotionally, but not have a scheme, not have a plan, not have a blueprint. So there was the added advantage of Sean McVay having a team that wanted to put the city of Los Angeles and the surrounding Los Angeles area on its back. But you still got to know what the hell you're doing. And I said going into that game that I was picking the Rams for one reason and one reason alone. I said it on this show. I said it on BetMGM Tonight last week. I said it on Bet for the Cycle on Saturday. When it came down to it, the LA Rams got the blueprint on how to knock off the Minnesota Vikings. And I will even point out and go so far to pull a trap by patting myself on the back. There was one particular player that I called out by name, Jared Verse, who BT Dubs scored a tutty last night. The sometimes, and this is something I think is lost to a lot of folks. Sometimes this game isn't that hard. You get caught up in schemes and concepts and plans and tactics and all that. But sometimes this game ain't hard. Sometimes you see what works and you do that, or you see what's not working and you stop doing that. Last night, the Los Angeles Rams looked at what the Detroit Lions did and said, yeah, that worked. We're going to do that. So what they do, they got it. They got after it. They blew up the Vikings offensive line. They put heat on Sam Darnold. Sam got to the point where he was not seeing the football field anymore. He was seeing the rush. And if I can get a quarterback's eyes away from my defensive backs, away from the field, if I can get a QB's eyes down and looking at the rush, I win. 100 out of 100 times, I win. And that's what the Rams did last night. They got Sam. You can go back and look at some of the sideline angles and stuff. Watch Sammy D. He gets the snap. The eyes go up, and then somebody breaks, and the eyes come down, and he's looking at the rush. If you're looking at the rush, you know you're not looking where you want to throw the football. I called this game perfectly. Won money last night because I called this game perfectly. This game was easy. This game was easy. The Detroit Lions put on the map the blueprint for beating the Minnesota Vikings, and just like I said they would, Sean McVay and the Rams said, yeah, we're going to do that. It's not that complicated. It's not that simple. It's not that difficult. This is easy. We just got to get back there and blow up Sam Darnold, and we know how to do that now. And here's the thing, because I was texting back and forth last night with one of the suits up towards the top of the BetQL network, for whom I do Bet for the Cycle every Saturday, noon to 4. We were texting back and forth, and he's like, damn, Rob Brown, you nailed this game. I'm like, yeah, no, I know ball, dog. I'm good at what I do. And he goes, what clicked? What was the thing for you? And I said, real simple. The LA Rams have a very good defensive line. The Detroit Lions are the most banged up defense maybe in the history of the National Football League. In terms of number of starts from week one starters, I don't know the exact numbers. But in terms of starts missed by week one starters, I have got to imagine the Detroit Lions are up towards the top of the all-time list. I said the Lions were nowhere near their week one defense in terms of guys, in terms of dudes. They were nowhere near it. And if the Detroit Lions effectively backups can get back there and make Sam Darnold look like New York Jets IC ghost Sam Darnold, then in what world can't Jared Verse and the Rams, who have a better defensive line and arguably front seven than Detroit? I'm not talking better in terms of numbers and performance. What I'm talking about is better in terms of talent on paper. The Lions are just banged up. Alex Anzalone out there for the Lions, who I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Baby Thor. Love this guy. Former New Orleans Saint. Wish we would have kept him. A lot of Saints out there. Zach Baun for Philly. Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati. A lot of former Saints out there killing it right now. Do you hear me, Mickey Loomis? I'm tired of it. That's a me thing. Okay? Put that aside. I'm a big fan of Alex Anzalone and what Detroit has built. Because Anzalone's a guy that a lot of people, including myself, wrote off. Good backup, good special teams guy, not going to be a stud. He gets up there to Detroit, and Dan Campbell has built something that goes, no. Those are the kind of guys we thrive with. Those heart players, those grit players, those gut players. And if you can build that culture, it'll work. Again, look at Detroit. Problem is, you got to have that kind of head coach. You got to have a Dan Campbell. You got to have a Matt Vrabel. to have that kind of Mike Vrabel, pardon me. You got to have a Mike Vrabel to have that kind of culture, that kind of gritty culture. And not a lot of teams have that coach. Detroit does. So what I'm saying is, not in terms of performance, but in terms of on paper, in terms of what they have talent-wise on paper, the Rams arguably to me have a better front seven than Detroit does. Just more talented. And if they're more talented in that spot, then what does that tell you? It tells me that whatever it was that Detroit was doing, LA can replicate it. And they did. They blew up the line. They got to Sam Darnold. They made him see ghosts, and they sacked him 9 times. That is tied for most sacks in a playoff game in NFL history. 9 of them last night. Now, I started by saying what? You all got to be doing better on a Tuesday than Sam Darnold, who played himself out of about $75 million. Because the thought was when this team was running up 14 wins, Sam Darnold's getting a $100 million contract. I've never agreed with that. I told you all season, as well as he is playing, NFL teams are going to look at Kirk Cousins and what he did in Atlanta this year, and they're going to go, no. We're not giving a cat $100 million to test the theory. Has Sam Darnold stopped seeing ghosts, or is he the beneficiary of playing in the Minnesota Vikings system with the skill position talent around them? You know, another thing Rob Brown's been screaming about for a year and a half now. Kirk Cousins is fine. He's okay. But at his age, he's at best a tutor for Michael Penix Jr. Called that shot before week 1. You're overpaying him, Atlanta. You're giving him too much money for a guy who I got a lot of respect for, a lot of love for. I got a Coles card too, bud. I'm a big khakis guy, all right? Half of what's in my house, Kirkland brand. Big fan. I was drinking Kirkland brand wine watching this game last night. They got a Spanish red. Mwah! Magnifique. It's spectacular. Big Kirkland's guy. Love Kirk Cousins for that reason. However, Kirk Cousins had the benefit of playing him in Minnesota, in Kevin O'Connell's system, a system which elevates the quarterback and stacks absolute dudes around him. Been saying that for a year and a half now. And everybody said, no, Rob, Kirk Cousins is him. He's all right, let's see what happens. He made it, what, 9 weeks, 10 weeks before they yanked him because the Falcons, when he hit his bottom, went 1-4, and Kirk had 1 tutty to 9 picks. That ain't it. And I said leading up to these playoffs, that's Sam Darnold too. I like Sam Darnold. I do. I got no issue with Sam Darnold. But I think sometimes we get caught up in the narrative we want to see. Would it not have been an incredible narrative for Sam Darnold to play for a bleep Jets franchise and then go to a bleep Carolina franchise, spend a year as a backup for the 49ers, and then get shipped up to Minnesota and show the middle finger to every one of them teams and go, y'all missed. Y'all blew it. That's a great narrative. But the NFL is not a fairy tale book, man. It's just not. He's just not that guy. He's not that good. He, like Kirk Cousins, that I told you last offseason, benefited by being in an offense on a team that understands how to elevate the quarterback and then positioned a world-class skill set around them. Do you understand how good Minnesota would be if I dropped Patrick Mahomes in there? They would be undefeated. I'm serious. They'd be undefeated. Do you understand how good Minnesota would be if I dropped Josh Allen in there? They'd be undefeated. Lamar Jackson, they'd be undefeated.
By the way, you act like it's that far-fetched. I mean, what was the record?
14-3 after the loss to Detroit in Week 18.
Wow, they'd be 3 games better.
I understand.
All the
3 games they lost were the 3 most important games of the season. They just were. And then they got their asses kicked in the only playoff game they will be in this year. Not lost, got smoked by the LA Rams. I mean, that's it. When we started these playoffs, we did a list of the teams that we thought were sneaky dangerous, and we did a list of the teams that I thought were probably getting a little bit too much credit. The Vikings were at the top of my list of teams I thought were getting too much credit. That team got dragged not by Sam Darnold, but by Jefferson, by the play calling, by Hawkinson, by the skill players, of which they are. There's a lot. But I said the morning after the Week 18 game between the Vikings and the Lions, the morning after, I sat in this chair, I hopped on this mic, and I said what? LA's got the blueprint. Vikings are screwed. Now, I will agree with what Lonzo opened the segment with. There was a lot of emotion in that building last night. I thought Andre Whitworth opening it up was a very nice touch. I thought all the things Jason Kelce had to say in the pregame, nice touch. I thought the repeated commercials and advertisements asking for donations and all that, absolutely do that. Take advantage of this enormous platform. There was a lot of emotion in that building to push the LA Rams. You know what else there was in that building last night? A metric bleep load of Minnesota Vikings fans. I mean, honestly, that was a Vikings home field advantage last night. Again, remember, I talked about this. I talked with Cody Decker last Saturday. He said, Rob, the stuff that nobody takes into consideration when you talk about home field advantage, it's not just about having more fans than they have fans. It's about not having to get on a bus and get on a plane and unpack from a suitcase and sleep in a weird bed in a weird room and eat catered food and not home. It's about the home cooking. It's about spending the night with your wife before that who can kind of center your chi, or spend time with your lady friend that lives in your city and center yourself a little bit. It's about sleeping in your own bed and being able to set the room up the way that makes you comfortable. It's about not having to get on a bus and a plane. You hop in your own Lexus to drive to the stadium. It's about all these different things. So the emotion was absolutely there. The Vikings fans turned up. The fact that the Vikings had that much going for them, that amount of fans, had the Rams playing effectively a road game, even with all the emotion that was in the building, at the end of the day, the Rams had the blueprint, they had the talent, and the Vikings, I think, were maybe, I've been saying all year, half joking, that I think the Kansas City Chiefs are maybe the least impressive 15-win team of all time. The Minnesota Vikings are the least impressive 14-win team I've ever seen. They were just overhyped. They had a quarterback, again, that I liked, that I was rooting for. But at the end of the day, Sam Darnold ain't him. And the Rams knew that going in, so they attacked, they sacked him 9 times, they got him seeing ghost, and they worked him, just like I said they would. All right, we got a lot we got to get to. A lot of national championship talk today. Lonzo's Buckeyes playing for another natty coming up on Monday, but the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are standing in the way. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the divisional round of the playoffs and more as the Rob Brown Show rolls on here on the Fan Upstate. Yeah, but Mike, teams are going to do just like Atlanta did and pay because they think they're getting a somewhat decent quarterback, and they're going to realize, nope, Minnesota elevated that guy, not the other way around. Did you watch any of the postgame with Ryan Clark? Well, no, you didn't. It was very late. I know. I went to bed too. Ryan Clark was doing his postgame on the sideline, and they must have set him up like right by the locker room.
He was on SportsCenter this morning.
Was he?
So
did you see it?
By all these guys going by.
They're just like a foot away from him, and they all look. It was really awkward.
A lot of thumbs up, a lot of things like that. Yeah.
Tickets today. Let's celebrate two of America's
favorite things. Permanent Bacon. Go to permanentbaconfest.com to get your tickets to the 2024-25 Permanent Bacon Fest.
Order for Jennifer C. Is this like double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve? Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine? Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year? Oh, really? That's great. Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year? Yeah, you just said that. Did you say I just said that? Yeah, I'm cutting you off. I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, you match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit.
Why pay more for prescription? Not overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide, and it's completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
Sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
Upstate. Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville. 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say, play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at the
FanUpstate.com.
Your guide to the gridiron. The maestro of the matchups and the keeper.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Tuesday a.m. Rob Brown and the great one Alonzo with you here on the show. If you want to be a part of it, now's your opportunity. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. That's the number to get on the phone. That is the number to text the show as well. 844-326-3663. Texter said, the national championship game, two of the most hated brands out there will play for the national championship. It will be Just CTV, and they will bring in viewers that hate the SEC only. These ratings will be bleep. Lonzo, where you fall on that? You believe that? You buy into that?
It's a typical comment from people who are conference fans. I mean, doesn't that sound like an SEC fan? Well, no, SEC haters are the only ones who are going to watch this. Come on,
Haters.
Dude. Come on.
Haters.
Since the beginning of the season, Ohio State's been picked to play in and win the national championship. I mean, maybe you didn't believe Vegas, but I mean, that's on you.
You were the odds-on favorite to start the year, weren't you?
Yes.
I think you dipped down for a while. You dipped down below Texas for a little while. You dipped down below Oregon about half. Well, basically after you lost to Oregon in the regular season, you dipped down behind the Ducks. But
no, I think it stayed there the entire time, at least according to the TV commentary. I never looked myself because there's so many different sites to look at to figure out which one's the one. But according to all the TV commentary, every time I watched a game, they would say, that Vegas has Ohio State winning the national championship.
Yeah, I thought, and I could be wrong.
I think the bigger surprise is Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is the bigger surprise. I think when Notre Dame was a top 10 shortest odds when the year started, but they cratered after that loss to Northern Illinois, the powerhouse, the juggernaut of Northern Illinois, the Huskies, by the way. I know that because I saw them play in the Birmingham Bowl 100 years ago, and I got to tell you, the like 77 Northern Illinois fans that came down to watch their team play in a bowl game were some of the nicest people I've ever seen. They were great.
All I know
Big
is,
Husky guy.
is people like the texter needs to look at the latest stuff from your mouthpiece, Paul Feinbaum, and the stuff that he's been saying is that the SEC needs to wake up.
There has been Decker's on this rant. Who else? There was somebody else. Was it Dan Patrick was on this rant, I think. There were some talking heads, some national talking heads that have been hammering this narrative that, SEC, you're not on top anymore, are you? And, look, I think there's a lot of us that have believed for a very long time that, yes, the SEC is probably the deepest conference in football, but it's the fact is the gap from them to everybody else maybe not as wide as they want you to believe that it is. And I think with the combination of an expanded playoffs that lets more people in, NIL and the transfer portal, I really think it's just parity around the league. I still think you're going to have more often than you do not. I still think more often than not, you're going to have big dogs playing for the Natty. You're still going to have the blue, what do they call them, the blue chip teams?
Blue Bloods.
The Blue Bloods.
And you do.
You're still going to have the
These
Blue Bloods.
These are two of the Blue Bloods.
For sure.
Playing.
For sure. All four teams in the semifinal were Blue Bloods. The Elite Eight, if you will, had a couple of teams that weren't Blue Bloods, Boise State, Arizona State. But by and large, it's going to be predominantly the Blue Bloods because even with the portal and NIL, these teams will not be as deep as these teams used to be. But the best players are still going to go to the universities that can offer the most, and those are the Blue Bloods, like we talked about.
And it's not just it is about offering, but it's also about the prestige of those places. The Blue Bloods have a reputation of being the best. So if you go there and you say, "Hey, I play for this team," one of those that when you think of college football, you think of one of those teams, then of course you're going to go there.
For sure.
If the money's about the same everywhere, why not go to one of those?
I would hold off, and I would say
it. I said
sure
it.
Sheriff
It's okay.
Sheriff Lonzo. Sure, if the money's the same. But I would also point out that, and this is something that has to be considered as well. I would also point out that the money being the same is one thing. You know what's not the same? The amenities, right? The amenities. If I go to Clemson, I've seen their rec room. It's a great place to hang out. I've seen the resources that they provide. I will tell you right now, and I say this with great and immense respect to Clemson. Go take a tour of Alabama's locker room. And if you're a 17-year-old kid trying to decide where you want to spend the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of college, I'm going to tell you right now, Alabama's locker room is the nicest spa I've ever been to. It's unbelievable. LSU builds there was a whole fight a couple of years back because LSU built a new locker room and then like 2 years later wanted to knock it down and build another multi-million-dollar football locker room. And there was a big fight because all the other sports on campus were like, yo, your locker room is a 5-star resort that most people would pay $100,000 to spend a week in. And you want to knock down that to build an even nicer one while the track and field team is riding a bus to the other side of SEC country. This ain't it. That's kind of part of it. But again, even if I have the nicest amenities in the world, if I'm going to go to Alabama and they're going to say, yeah, you're going to sit for 2 years, then you're going to play in your third year, versus somebody calls me from NC State and goes, bro, you are a starter tonight if you come here. As soon as you're on campus, you're going to the top of the depth chart. Yeah, maybe we don't have the facilities and all that, but we got a lot of fans. We got a good NIL collective, and you're starting today. All right, we change it up. The point here is what made the SEC the deepest conference for a long time, I genuinely believe, is the cause of the downfall. And it's hard to say downfall This is year one of the 12-team format. And the SEC had what? 2 teams in the Elite Eight, 1 team in the Final Four. It's a little early to say downfall of the conference, but I don't think it's too early to say the regression to the mean of the Southeastern Conference. And I believe that regression to the mean of the SEC has been caused by the thing that made the SEC so good, so dominant for so long. That is to say, the SEC, and Saban can get as mad at Shane Gillis as he wants. For so long, it was well known by fans to the point of being a joke around the college football community that SEC schools were hitting those $500 handshakes with players, that players were being taken care of. You had car dealerships. You got the joke about Dodge Chargers making up half of the parking spots in Alabama's Fieldhouse parking lot. Not a joke. Not a joke. So you've had that for so long that when the NIL kicked in, for a lot of these schools, not all, and again, I think, for instance, South Carolina has done a commendable job with their NIL collective. But you had so many of these schools that had the way that they have done things in place for so long that to get caught up with distribution of funds in the NIL world, it took them a little while. Whereas Ohio State and Notre Dame jumped all over it, embraced it. And before you pop off and go, wait a minute, Rob, I think you're overblowing this whole thing. Really? There's a coach right here in our hood that for a couple of years now has been taking a lot of heat for what? Not using the portal, not embracing NIL. Dabo Swinney, he knows all about that, right? It took him a couple of years to embrace this. And what happened to Clemson in those couple of years? You're still a good team. You're still hanging around. You're still winning the ACC, arguably at best the 4th best conference of the Power 4. Like, you're still hanging around. But you ain't what you were back in 2018. You ain't that squad anymore. To the point that, by the way, we got Dabo's first major defensive coordinator candidate. I'll tell you who that is in a minute. And would you look at that? Where's he going to find his new DC? Is he hiring internally? Is he promoting a Clemson guy? Is he bringing up one of his babies from inside the program? No, sir. Where's Dabo going to get his new DC from? Penn State, who just played in a National College Football semifinal. Penn State, that's where he's getting his new DC. Dabo, I think, has had to embrace. Maybe I don't like these things, but if I want to be successful, I got to be a part of that. I think the SEC was so stuck in their ways for so long, and those ways made them the dominant conference. They were so stuck in those ways for so very long that when college football very abruptly changed, it took them some time to get caught up. It may still be taking them some time to catch up, with a couple of exceptions. South Carolina, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. It's taking the rest some time to catch up. And all these other schools that embraced it immediately a couple of years ago when it started, they're profiting from that right now. Ryan Day and the Buckeyes are profiting from that right now. Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame are profiting from that right now. So we'll see. We'll see if that holds up, or with another year of learning in the new system, if the SEC goes right back up to the top. We'll find out. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Corporate is saying that I need to clear my cache
Mm-hmm.
in order to do that. From what I understand, you can clear your cache on a specific site. I don't know how to do that. I've been looking it up, and it looks overly complicated.
Basketball won the poll yesterday. Sorry, I saw that.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. It's a green light through the upstate right now. You've got a 34-minute drive between Greenville and Spartanburg and 17 minutes from Travelers Rest to downtown Greenville. There is overnight road work along I-85. Most of the active road work is taking place overnight, which does cause daytime lane shifts and closures, so be mindful of work zones even though no workers are present. From the News Talk 98.9 WYD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay on any line. Plus Price Lock, we won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, January 17th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Sample bourbons and whiskeys from well-known distilleries while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants. Text BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com.
Yeah, I've been looking at that, Jacob, but the problem is from what I could tell, it will clear the cache on everything, and I'm afraid I might lose some passwords and things. I don't know. I'm going to wait till engineering gets here and see if they will help me. And he'll probably come in and do the same thing. I'll just lose everything. Sorry. I also don't believe for a second that that'll work, but that's fine.
Actually, Jim, most Moses call them Gain Centimes. Try Gain Centimes. Way fresher than detergent.
Have you, or do you want me to send an email to Steph about lives for Monday?
Oh, they sent them to me already.
Did they?
Yeah.
They usually put me on those. So okay, good. I know it's only Tuesday, but tomorrow will be Friday. As fast as things go.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, the great one, Lonzo, and you talking some college football here on the show. Notre Dame, Ohio State University, 6 days away from the national championship. I want to talk about these two head coaches, Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day. We know the narratives behind both of them. We know the narrative behind Marcus Freeman takes over from Brian Kelly. Family. There were question marks. Young guy, very different breed of cat from Brian Kelly. Like the antithesis of Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly was old. He was angry. Not really a dude that at least I got a whole lot in common with. Then you got Marcus Freeman. He's young. He's hip. He's cool.
Wait. So how old is he?
Brian Kelly?
And how old are you? You
not,
compared yourself to young and hip. I'm just saying, you gotta make that transition.
Let me ask you this question, and I mean this sincerely. If you had to send me out on a bro date with either Brian Kelly or Marcus Freeman, and you get $1 million if I come back and said I had a great time, which one of those two dudes are you sending me out with?
Brian Kelly.
Shut up. No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not.
I
would have a great time only in that I would just keep yelling family.
It's a lifestyle thing. Look at one lifestyle, look at the other. You probably fit better with one than the other.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman.
No, I don't think so.
I'm young.
No.
I'm cool.
No.
I'm good looking.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
I will tell you that as a as a player, 100%, I'd rather play for Marcus Freeman
I'm
than
also
Brian Kelly.
guessing that one will hang in the bar and the other won't. I'm just saying. So you're gonna if you want to go out to a conservative kind of meal and stuff with Marcus Freeman, you go ahead. But you're gonna go hang out and party with Brian Kelly.
I do not think that I don't know Brian Kelly's late night proclivities, so to speak. I am sure Marcus Freeman's got like 6 kids. I think he's got like 4 daughters and a couple of sons or something like that. So yeah, Marcus Freeman probably isn't exactly hitting up the blind horse with me.
Right. I'm just, and this is looking from afar. I think you would have a better time with Brian Kelly.
I don't think I would, because I think Brian Kelly is I think he is an angry, consistently.
Marcus Freeman's taking you out for a family meal, which means you're going to have to.
What's wrong
you
with
gotta, nothing.
I can enjoy
But
a good
watch
family.
what you say.
Sorry, a good
all
family
that
meal.
kind of stuff. You go out with Brian Kelly, you can open up.
I mean, that's true.
You're probably going to an Irish pub or something. I'm just saying. I think
the point
it's
here
a bad
is
analogy for you.
The point here is Brian Kelly's not a dude I think I would like Marcus Freeman is. All right. I've seen plenty of Brian Kelly. I think Brian Kelly's a bit of a fraud. All right. I just do. I think Brian Kelly's a bit of a fraud. The point here is Marcus Freeman, to me, seems pretty genuine, straightforward. Seems like he is on camera, who he is behind the scenes. And that's a dude I think I'd get along with. But the point here is when Marcus Freeman came in and took over, there was a lot of questions about his ability to navigate taking this Notre Dame brand and elevating them and getting them back where Irish fans want to be. Now, I don't think he's done that. I mean, obviously he's done that. He's playing for a national championship, but you get the point. You get the point. I think Marcus Freeman is the type of cat that is going to make a lot of schools reevaluate the way that they hire head coaches. I think Marcus Freeman is the prototype of what I want in a head coach in this new modern contemporary era of college football. I think he is the prototype of what I'm looking for here. I think he is the prototype of this is the coach I want to lead the dudes. Young enough to connect with it. I was listening to there was a clip going around, and I wish I would have saved it. There was a clip going around. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick of Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, who is one of, along with Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, one of the most sought after head coaching candidates in the National Football League. And I don't think he was just saying this, but Aaron Glenn was asked, like, what would you say is the most important thing that you can do to communicate with young players? And Aaron Glenn's response was, you've got to be able to talk to them, to relate to them. You've got to be able to have communication where you're on the same level. And with college kids, that's not any less important. It's just way tougher to do. It's just that's the reality of talking to a 17-year-old man versus a 22-year-old man. And a 22-year-old man versus a 37-year-old man, or a 30-year-old man, or hell, a 26-year-old man. I will tell you right now, Saturday night I went up to Asheville. One of my old fraternity brothers from back in the day who lives out in Seattle was up in Asheville for a month. He works for FEMA. And he's up there. There's still disaster relief efforts going on from FEMA about Helene. So he works for FEMA, and he called me. He's like, yo, dude, I'm up in Asheville. You want to come up and we'll check out a brewery or two? And I was like, yep. So I drove up there. We're having a conversation. Now, I haven't seen this kid, mind you. I haven't seen this kid since probably 2008. Probably 2008. So last time I saw him, I mean, we've stayed in contact, right? Everybody's got Facebook. We've stayed in contact, but I haven't seen him in that long. So I drove up there and we met up and we talked for probably 10, 15 minutes. And he's like, dude, you are a completely different person than I remember you being. And it's true. And I will tell you this, I was a completely different person at 35 than I am coming up on 40, and 30 than I was at 35, and 25 than I was 30.
Different how?
It would be easier to list the similarities than it would be the differences. My political philosophies have changed entirely. My personal convictions in different aspects of my life have flip-flopped entirely as I have developed as a human being. Just about anything. I would say the only things that remain the same are I'm still loud and annoying most of the time. I'm still the life of most parties I attend. But like most of the ways that I view and attack life, not all of them. I've always been in this industry. I've always worked hard at it. But like most of my views and philosophies on life have changed. The point here is I was a different person to talk to and communicate at 35 than I am 40. So, of course, it's going to be harder to communicate with a 17-year-old than a 25-year-old. They're not as developed, matured, etc. And so in order to, and I think Aaron Glenn's philosophy is right, in order to coach a kid, you've got to be able to coach the kid. And to coach a kid, you've got to, and by kid, I'm talking NFL players up till, Brady's age. To be able to develop those people, you have to be able to relate to them. And they have to be able to relate to you. You have got to be able to meet somewhere on a common ground. If you're ever in a position of management of any type, I'm not saying you got to be friends. I am saying you better find some common ground. And that common ground might be the work that you do itself. It might be, oh, you're a dad, I'm a dad. It might be, oh, you like football, I like football. You got to find some common ground because tribalism is wildly, wildly important in human beings. Marcus Freeman, being a young dude, a hip dude, as the kids definitely still say, and somebody who, frankly, compared to most other coaches, are not nearly as far removed from their days in a helmet as a lot of other guys. I think Marcus Freeman is the type of dude that has found that common ground with his team, and they have latched on him. There is a video of Marcus Freeman being introduced to the Notre Dame football team after remember, Brian Kelly just left, right? Like he was the coach one day, and then 10 minutes later, he's in the locker room going, I'm out. I'm heading down to Baton Rouge. Y'all be good. See you. Deuces. Peace later. Bye, Felicia. I'm out. And the team was taken aback. And then Marcus Freeman walks in and is introduced as the new head coach of the Notre Dame Irish football team. And the team lost its mind. Why? Because they're connected with that dude. And I think you've seen that play out. They lost that game to NIL. Go back and watch the next 2 or 3 weeks of Notre Dame football after that. That's a team that gelled. That's a team that hardened around Marcus Freeman. And I think it's worked out. Narrative on the other side about Ryan Day. And Zoe is obviously far more equipped to talk about this than I am, even if I do know ball. What if I asked you, Zoe, what is it can be surface level, it can be I heard this dude on an interview, whatever. If I asked you to define or explain the relationship between the Buckeye football team and Ryan Day, how would you describe it or define it? Or could you?
All I know is lately, Ryan Day has heard the narrative and he's angry, and his players are angry for him and with him.
Yep.
And you can see it with each victory afterwards. Just the look on his face, he is still so ticked, and so are his players.
Remember the controversy when, was it Lou Holtz?
It was Lou Holtz. Yes.
Lou Holtz in 2023. Lou Holtz came out and said this Buckeye team isn't tough. This Buckeye team isn't tough. And then they went out and won whatever game was up next. They came out and won it. And Ryan Day in the interview after that was like, I ain't heard from Lou in a minute. I wish I knew where Lou was right now. Right? And the players reiterated that. Like the players were getting after it. Well, it's the same thing this year. It's the same thing this year in that if you look at some of the interviews and you read some of the things that the Buckeye players have been saying, if you go pay attention to it, you can kind of hear that I think they're genuinely like ticked off about the narrative being built around their coach.
And you can't avoid it because it's Stephen A. Smith's talking about all the big names on TV are saying he needs to be gone. And if that's your guy and you're seeing all this, it's going to really make you mad. And you can either cause you to combust and make stupid mistakes, or it can cause you to rally behind the guy who's in charge of your team, and that's what they seem to be doing.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's anything incorrect about that at all. This is a dude that Buckeye team seems to have rallied around, just like Will Howard, by the way, right? But that team gelled around Ryan Day, and I think wanted to defeat the narrative for their coach, not have their coach go out there by himself and take all the heat from the narrative, but to go out and defeat the narrative on his behalf. And I think by and large, they have done a pretty good job of that overall. And so in putting that together, I think that there's a lot of credit that is deserved to Ryan Day, a lot of credit that should be discussed for Ryan Day, based on the fact that he got this team, whether he did it intentionally or not, he got this team to want to go to bat for him. And they did, and look at where they are now. So these two coaches, I think, and oh, by the way, to all of you, Buckeye fans who wanted this guy fired, you're morons. Okay? You're morons. Just like I said you were then, just like I'll say it again now. You're morons. It's a joke.
I just want to point out that I never said he should be fired.
I got your back. I want you to know I have your back in that. So we were talking about this on Bet for the Cycle on Saturday. We talked about this quite a bunch. And I pointed out we were talking about the Buckeye fans, and I was talking about specifically I was talking about you. I said my executive producer back on my home network, the great one Lonzo, was telling me preseason that if Ryan Day loses to Michigan, that there were going to be Buckeye fans that want him fired. And Cody Decker was like, yeah, those guys are idiots. And I was like, nationally, want to be real clear, Lonzo's not one of them. Lonzo's not one of them. But to all the Buckeye fans out there that wanted this guy, you're an idiot. And I hope you wake up today going, man, Rob Brown was right. Maybe I am a little bit of a moron.
Still has to finish the job. He has to win the national championship.
He's got you in the national championship.
I'm talking about those people. And still underneath, they'll still be saying that stuff.
That's real dumb too.
Well, I agree.
That's real dumb too.
So, my wife is already looking into getting ready to order a national championship t-shirts and gear and stuff.
Sure.
So, I mean,
I think that these two coaches, because remember, one of the two of them is about to become, what are we sitting on right now? 2 active coaches that have a national championship trophy. Kirby, Dabo. Is there anybody I'm missing? Nick Saban's out. He's gone. Mac Brown is out. He's gone. I think we have 2 active coaches with an Addy right now, right? So one of these 2 is joining that group.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, how are you not looking at these 2 guys and going, maybe that's the prototype? Maybe that's the type of guy we're looking for. Like Bill Belichick. Oh, wait. That's dumb. Hey, we got a lot we got to get to. We got the water cooler cheat sheet coming up next. I don't care what it takes. We're doing faces and heels today. I was thinking about it last night. I got some good ones. So we'll run that back later. We'll talk a little bit more about the NFL's divisional round. We'll get some NFL football in here coming up in a little while. It's going to be a big show. And it all starts off as Lonzo sets the tone for the day with the Sports Flash.
Hoodie's going to win a national championship next year.
At what?
In football, you'll see. The final spot, he already did as far as dating goes, I suppose. The final spot in the NFL's divisional round, for old guys anyway, was claimed last night by the LA Rams with a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Matt Stafford threw for 209 yards and a pair of touchdowns, while the defense picked off Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold, sacked him 9 times, and recovered a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. The Rams will face the Eagles in Philly next weekend. Clemson Tigers are working to finalize a contract with their new defensive coordinator, current Penn State DC Tom Allen. ESPN reports the two sides have been in negotiations and are expected to reach a decision in the upcoming days. Allen has spent 1 year in State College, where the Nittany Lions defense was ranked in the top 10 in scoring defense, rush defense, and total defense. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 as the Furman Paladins take on ETSU in basketball right here on The Fan. By the way, Marcus Freeman is 39. He's your age. Also from Ohio. And we know you don't really get along with Buckeyes or people from that state.
That's not true.
So I think you would really struggle with time out with Marcus.
Stapleton's awesome. I will probably go to that. So there is a possibility I could finish off this football season with my college team winning a national championship and my NFL team winning the Super Bowl. More than likely, only one of those happens. And that'll be next Monday. Because the odds are completely against Kansas City. Because no team has ever won 3 in a row.
They'll probably make that a narrative, right?
I think they have all season.
It's a joke. They clearly have.
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly, potentially. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the show. Texter said, Ryan Day is the Rodney Dangerfield of college football. Hashtag no respect. That's not wrong.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't
That's
get it.
not wrong. Yeah, that's not wrong at all, to be honest with you.
Well, think about the shoes he filled when, he had to follow Urban Meyer. Whether you like him or not.
I don't.
He was just really good at Ohio State and at every college team that he was on. So, So expectations are always high at
Can we
Ohio
make it real
State.
clear?
But
I don't dislike him because he's a bad coach. That's not the reason at all. I dislike him because I think he's full of crap. That's a very different reason. Hey, in case I haven't made that clear in all the years. Yup. But, I really hope he's spending more time with his family. That thing that he ditched a school to go do and then was on TV in a full-time gig a week later. I really do hope he spends more time with his family.
I thought you were talking because of that blonde dancing in the bar thing.
Listen, I will keep it a buck with you. I don't judge that aspect of people's life because people are into their own things. I'm quite literally friends with a couple who have both given each other permission to go sleep with other people. It's their life. It ain't mine to judge. I am very much a stay out of other people's bedrooms kind of guy. Do you think? Now, do I suspect that Herbs, enjoys heading out to the playground and doing a little swinging? No, but that ain't up to me to judge and decide. It's the everything else that's been an issue for me. Although he did give us one of the greatest television moments of all time. The bong rip on the boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One of the greatest moments in TV history.
That noise could be interpreted as a lot of things. Thank you for explaining what you were doing.
Well, you looked at me you were very confused about it.
Because I didn't know exactly what that was.
Yeah, when Herb was on his boat doing an interview and very clearly a fact. Yes. Which some people would confuse for a water cooler.
Yes.
But very clearly,
it gets closer to it than whatever
it's
you
just
did.
Herb's buddy ripping a fat one off a bong in the background. Hey, speaking of that sounding eerily similar to a water cooler, but clearly being a bong rip. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It is time for your water cooler cheat sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Yeah, hear
their first bathroom break.
And they had an Herb quote in there.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
And the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this lovely Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Yesterday was the first day that I had to write down day, month, year, and I got it right.
Yeah, I started off the year misstating some things, and some things almost didn't play, which happens every single year. So I'm not blaming it on my age. It's all and other people where I had to say check your year.
Yesterday, January 14th, 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks to get to where I went. Oh yeah, that's right. It's 2025. It's also 7:04 in the morning. You got 55 minutes to be to the office, and you need to know what's going on. Let us kick it off with item numero uno. The 6th and final spot, at least 6th spot won by a wild card round winner, as there are obviously 8 spots in the divisional round of the NFL's playoffs, but 2 of them were claimed by the 1 seeds. Detroit's on the NFC side, Kansas City on the AFC side. Thank you very much. I am good at this job. The final spot in the next round was claimed last night by the LA Rams. Yeah, who got a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings, predominantly by kicking the crap out of poor Sam Darnold last night. 25 of 40, 245 yards, 1 tutty, 1 pick. By the way, about 50 of those yards came at the end of the fourth quarter in hot garbage time when this game was very clearly done and cooked and over. Sam Darnold got sacked 9 times. That is not a verbal typo. That is not a speako. 9 times.
You said it was tied. Who's it tied with?
I don't know. They just kept saying it was tied for the NFL record all time last night, and they didn't ever explain to me who it was with.
I'm pretty sure I know, but I'm going to look it up.
Is it the Chiefs?
I'm pretty sure, against Dave Craig. At least it was for a while.
Damn, Lonzo's got the specifics. I like that. I'll see if I can find that as I continue to tell you about this 27-9 victory by the LA Rams over the Minnesota Vikings last night. You shouldn't have been surprised. I broke this game, diagnosed this game, gave you the exact way that the LA Rams were going to win this game last night. They were plus 115 on the money line for an outright upset, and they got it done. How? Attack, make Sam Darnold see goes. Get those eyes out of the defensive backfield and down to the pass rush, and that's exactly what they did behind Jared Verse, who had a scoop and score tutty. What do you want? I told you the morning after the Detroit game, last Tuesday, I said, yo, the Rams are winning this game. That's not a question mark. That's a statement. That's not a prognostication. That's not a prediction. That's a statement of fact. The Rams are winning this game because the Rams are, and I mean this, the best coach team in the National Football League. Not the best on paper. I think there's a lot of coaches that if you transplanted them in Los Angeles, California, in charge of the LA Rams, the Rams ain't making the playoffs. They ain't winning the NFC West. Yeah, they're only a 10-win team. But here's the thing. They're not anywhere close to the most talented team on paper, but they are the most well-coached team in the NFL. I firmly believe that. And as soon as the Lions put onto paper the blueprint on how to beat the Minnesota Vikings, I immediately said a couple of things. Number one, Sean McVay knows your kryptonite. You're cooked. Number two, Jared Verse is going to have himself a day with a capital D. Jared Verse had a scoop and score tutty and a couple of sacks in this game, 9 of them when it was all said and done.
I'm a little confused. So the team had 9 sacks, right?
Correct.
According to the internet, the Philadelphia Eagles have the most sacks by a team in a game with 14 sacks.
Playoff game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Playoff game.
Yeah. Tied for most sacks in an NFL playoff game is 9.
And the individual sack record, which is what I was thinking of.
Yeah. No.
7 is Derek Thomas.
Yeah. Team
Dave Craig.
Team sacks in a playoff game. The Rams tied that all-time high last night with 9 of them. They got to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was the same Sam Darnold that was there last week. The Sam Darnold that is now not getting a $100 million contract last year, as so many of y'all said that he was going to earlier this year. And I said, yo, maybe hold your horses just a little bit. Let's do something before we get there. Item number 2.
I was still doing the thing.
Yeah, I know.
So, because I was.
You're on R&D over there.
It's not a rabbit hole.
Mike McCarthy will not be returning to the Dallas Cowboys as the head coach. The reports coming in last night that those two entities were unable to reach an agreement on a new contract. It was reported yesterday that Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys could not get there. Mike McCarthy was going to be, in his opinion, underpaid. You know how JJ operates. He's more about money than success. We'll talk about that in a moment. Mike McCarthy is expected to interview with the Chicago Bears for their head coaching job. Now, that's not the story. That's not the item on the water cooler cheat sheet. This is
the gigantic story of the day. Dallas has an opening at head coach. Thought it was interesting. Troy said maybe not coveted. We get that it's still Dallas and there's going to be interest. Where are they looking?
Well, it is the Cowboys, and they have spoken with, amongst other candidates, Deion Sanders. There is a mutual interest there. And I go back to about a year and a half ago when I had a former general manager say to me, watch Deion Sanders. There's a real possibility he may be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, there is mutual interest. We'll see if that amps up. But the two sides have talked. They have touched base, and we'll see if it goes anywhere.
I've been saying that all year. This is no shocker if this happens. I think the biggest question is how do they trade Dak Prescott away in order to get Shador there?
Question is, how do they get Shador? How do you get him? You're not drafting anywhere near inside the top three, and there are
if you
only
can package Dak Prescott with some other things to move. I was looking earlier at draft order trying to see who would need a quarterback and how they would do it. I'm sure there's a possibility.
The draft order as it stands right now, and I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. Tennessee, do they need a quarterback? No. There's a lot of Tennessee folks that still think Will Levis can be that guy. Will Levis had some moments for the Titans. He also had some absolute catastrophes for that team, but that team is also, and this is true, not very good.
He's also has an amazing fragrance, which we haven't smelled yet, but it's,
Perfume de mayo.
Yeah.
Will Levis may or may not be the guy. I think the Titans are willing to listen to offers for number one. Here's the thing. The Dallas Cowboys are drafting number 12. Do you know how much capital they will have to put into it to jump to 1 overall? The Cleveland Browns, they're going to have to go get a quarterback. Now, Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles again. So even if they were willing to stick with Deshaun Watson, which is, and hear me out on this, there's a technical term for this, dumber than hell is the technical term.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, dumber than hell. If they decide to be dumber than hell and keep Deshaun Watson, do you know what you'd have to trade to get to 12-2? The New York Giants are going to have a quarterback. New England set, Jacksonville set, Las Vegas needs a quarterback at number 6. I would make the argument the Jets are going to need a quarterback at number 7.
So there are all those possibilities of teams that may go, Dak Prescott is proven. Yeah, I'll trade you for him.
Dak's on the table, but here's the thing. Dak Prescott, who has been a wonderful regular season quarterback. The narrative's the narrative around Dak Prescott for a reason. If you're going to put your eggs in the Dak Prescott basket and drop back to the number 12 pick, what else does Dallas have to come off of? And the question is for Gerald, who has got to make this decision, because he said it multiple times, I'm the decision maker around here. Keep it up, JJ. You're doing great, sweetie. How valuable is Dion to Dallas? Because if I'm pick one of those teams we talked about, the Giants at 3.
All right.
Who, by the way, Shador was wearing Giants cleats in his bowl game, so he's already got the talks going.
What do you think about the crop of quarterbacks coming in?
It sucks. There's 2. Shador is one of them.
Right.
Shador and Cam Ward.
So if you look at that and go, okay, there's not really any quarterbacks that we can build a future around. Why not go and get a proven guy? I think it'd be a lot of teams that'd be willing to trade for Dak.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. You are correct. But Dak is not, you're not going from 12 to 4 as with Dak Prescott as the pick.
Oh no, there's going to be more, but I think
not more. A lot more.
They probably go with future picks more so than this draft. Maybe one more in this draft and then a bunch of future picks.
So my question here is, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, and I say this sincerely, how much am I willing to gamble on a head coach who's never been a head coach at the NFL and is a sub 500 record college coach?
Had Jimmy Johnson ever been a head coach in the NFL?
No.
So no, I'm saying for this reason, he has gambled before.
I understand, but I'm not, listen, okay, let me reset. This is not me saying no, okay? Let me make it clear. This is not me saying no. This is me saying if Dion, and by the way, we're having this whole argument under the assumption that Dion says, yes, if I can go get Shador.
He took the phone call.
He did take the phone call. And again,
he's admitted he took the phone call.
I am fine with the assumption that Dion says, Jerry, I'll come down to the Big D, and I do mean Dallas, but I'm only doing if you bring Shador with me. You got to go, whatever it takes, you got to go get Shador and get him there, whatever it takes. Let's work under that assumption. And the only way to guarantee that is to what? Go to number 1 overall, to trade with Tennessee, right? And Tennessee, again, I think Tennessee might be willing to do it. I think they bought into Will Levis. So if the assumption is, I'll come to the D, but you got to go get me Shador, which means Jay's got to go to number 1 overall to guarantee, because
what if Shador is not the thing? Maybe it's Travis Hunter.
Again, we're working on it. I understand that. We're working on an assumption, but you and I both know good and bleeping well it's not. We both know that. He's not. Deion has been, and I will give him credit for one thing. Deion's been about Deion's babies since Deion started becoming a coach. There ain't no arguing that. He's been I'm about my boys, and I respect that. I'm not hating on him for it.
But he's not doing the typical dad thing, following his kids and then doing poorly. He's following his kids and doing well. So, I mean, come on. He turned Colorado around.
Okay, let's relax a little bit. They're a 500 team. They're not even 500. Granted, they were a 1-win team. However, well, they are 500.
Dude.
I forgot what they did this year.
They had a chance to win the division this year.
They did have a chance to win the conference this year. That is correct.
I mean,
I will also point out,
did you
though.
flashback to last year or something?
Yeah, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I 100% did. I already told you. I got lost in the sauce. I think that you're right. I will give Deion Sanders a ton of credit in that Colorado did finish 9-4. 9-4. So for a with the bowl game included, for what that team was whatever. Yes, Deion Sanders has done a commendable job.
That's an amazing turnaround compared to what they were.
Not even disagreeing with that. Of course, they played the easiest schedule in the Big 12 to get there. And every time they played a team that was even decent, they lost. So I am going to say, just like I have with a lot of other coaches, let's hold the horses a little bit.
So if he brings that to Dallas, how would it be any different?
Because this ain't Big 12 college football.
You're missing the point. If he brings them back to mid, that's where they always are anyway.
Well, dude, Dallas is like a regular 10. They didn't do it this year, but they're a regular 10-game winner. They just stink in the playoffs. And again, is Deion saying, put all that to bed. I want to get back to where I started this. Let's be real clear about this. This is not me saying no. This is me saying, what's the price you're willing to pay? What's the price you're willing to pay? Because if Deion's thing is, I'll come, but you got to bring my boy with me, or my boys, because Shiloh's going too. But if he's saying, I'm going to go, but you got to bring Shedeur with me, is JJ willing to say, we're going to pay you Deion Sanders money, and we're willing to pull a Ditka and trade our entire, because this is what Tennessee's going to want. And they won't be the only suitor, because there's 2 quarterbacks in this draft that are first-round picks to me, Shedeur and Cam Ward. And I don't even think either one of them is like necessarily like break the bank to go get them at 1. I think they both are potential guys, right? They're potential guys. Are you willing, if you were Dallas, to throw a king's ransom at Tennessee to go get Shedeur to guarantee Deion Sanders, who, by the way, is a completely unknown commodity as an NFL coach? Because I think what here's the thing.
It's not are you, is Jerry willing to do
well,
that?
that's obviously. I'm not asking if Lonzo is willing to make that move for the Cowboys, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what anybody but JJ wants.
I would make the move.
See, I don't think I would. The problem you have is with Jarrah waiting until the 14th of January to make a move. All the other big names are I'm not saying off the board, because Aaron Glenn's out there and Ben Johnson's out there, and that's all well and good.
Maybe you had to wait till Deion said yes before he did it. I know you're not supposed
to do
that.
Deion ain't said yes. Deion said, I quote, I took the call. It was intriguing. That's it.
You're missing the point.
Oh, you think they've already agreed on it?
That's what I mean. If you do that, if you know that's happening, then you go ahead and fire the guy.
By the way, can I also point out that if Deion Sanders leaves Colorado, as his boys are leaving Colorado, I will be officially convinced that I am allowed to say on this microphone, Deion Sanders is full of crap. Because remember, when he got to Jackson State, it was, I'm here to elevate HBCs. I'm here to put, hang on, let me finish. Let me finish. When he got to Jackson, he said, I'm here to elevate HBCs. The second he was done there, he took off, he left. He said, screw you guys, I'm out. Then he goes to Colorado. What's he been saying? I'm here about the kids. I'm here to make good young men. I'm here about the kids, here about the kids, here about the kids. And then his kids leave, and he's right out the door at Colorado too. Deion Sanders is full of crap. Are we good with that? Let's take a break. Back after this, we'll talk about it on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
3 friends.
All right, guys, quick live coming right back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. show continues right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you will be a part of the show. 844-326-3663. 844 FANFONE. That's how you get on the radio program. You can also text that number should you wish to do so. Text 844-326-3663. Texter said Jerry Jones will get a ton of attention from hiring Deion, so he would definitely hire him. He's all about attention. You're not wrong, Texter, but I'm going to change one word of your text. I'm going to change the word attention to, Lonzo, money. Jerry Jones is about money. Jerry Jones is the definition of I have this team as an investment. Now, he said
primetime equals cash, man.
Yes, it does.
It does. Let's
be very clear. And I'm not just hanging this on JJ. There's a lot of owners like this who I had this conversation, I think, on Twitter last night. The biggest separation betwixt fans and owners, the biggest separation between fan and owners is that fans love their team out of a passion and a desire for W's. Owners love their team as investments. They love their team to make money. Now, there are some that are committed to winning, but make no mistake about this. The majority of them love their teams and have a commitment to winning because winning sells stuff. Winning gets you on national television. Winning gets you bandwagon fans. It puts butts in seats. Yada, 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 yada. It makes you money. They are money driven. And Jerry Jones is one of those people. You will note, do you know the reason that Dallas has changed nothing in the 30 years since they last won a Super Bowl? How long has it been since they last won more than one playoff game in a row? How many years has it been? They still are featured all the time. You know how I know that? Because even knowing that and hating it, here we are. In one of the three most important segments of the day, the 7 o'clock hour is the money hour of this show, right? I get all y'all driving to work in the AM. It's the money hour of the show. And in the money hour of the show in Greenville, South Carolina, in Spartanburg, South Carolina, in the surrounding metro million-plus person market, I kind of feel obligated to talk about this. As much as I do not think they are America's team, as much as I think we spend an inordinate amount of time on this team, this story has to be talked about. And just like with Colorado, when Deion showed up over the past 2 years, if Deion Sanders is wearing the headset, he becomes the story. It just is. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. It gets it. Do you think that the NFL would not give the Dallas Cowboys their full, what is it? You can play, I think, a max of 9 national games per year. I think 9's the number, the most national primetime slots that an NFL team can have. I promise you, Dallas is going to have more primetime games than anybody else if primetime is their head coach, without a doubt. So I agree with that text. JJ would absolutely make this hire. That's not the question. The question is Deion taking this job without conditions? If the answer is no, then what are those conditions? And is one of them, I want Shedeur. I'm going to have Shedeur as my quarterback. And if that is the question, is JJ willing to trade a king's ransom to the Tennessee Titans to guarantee him, right? Because there's the other aspect of this, which is, all right, there's 2 quarterbacks right now. And again, I don't think either one of them is necessarily franchise material. I think Cam Ward has a better chance at being a franchise quarterback than Shedeur Sanders does. I don't think either one of those two is a guy that I'm not locking him down the way I did Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. Is these guys are guaranteed bona fide franchise quarterbacks. So if the answer to that is no, are they willing to trade a king's ransom to Tennessee for a guy that might be to ensure they get Deion Sanders? And on top of that, they got to go to 1. Because I'll tell you what I'm doing if I'm Tennessee. If they call me, if Jerry Jones calls me today, knowing that he's got to get Shedeur, and I'm the GM of the Titans, and he calls me and he goes, hey, big dog, I want to get to 1 and get Shedeur. What do you want for it? You know what I'm saying? Every pick you have this year. I'm serious. I want every pick you've got. I want a Mike Ditka for Ricky Williams style deal. And if he goes, Rob Brown, esteemed, respected general manager of the Tennessee Titans, you know I can't make that deal. Do you know what I say to him? Okay, we'll draft Shedeur. That's my selling point. Here's the deal, Jarrah. You give me what I want for the number 1 overall pick, or I draft Shedeur Sanders with the number 1 overall. And here's the thing. I know what that pick means to you. I know what that pick means to you. And I am even, because here's the thing. If there has been an NFL dad since Archie that would be willing to hold an NFL team hostage by saying, my kid's not playing for you, it's Deion Sanders, who has already started to do that. He's already done it. So even if Deion calls me, hey, Rob Brown, handsome and very intelligent general manager of the Tennessee Titans, if you draft Shedeur, I just want you to know he's not playing for you. Okay. All right. That's fine. You better get on home with JJ then, because I'm telling you right now, I'm drafting him, and I'm not revoking the rights to him. He will sit out of the NFL for whatever the length, 4 years, whatever the length of time is, he will sit out of the NFL. We will not give his rights away. So you can tell JJ, get on the horn, give me what I want, and we will give you the number 1 pick, and Shedeur goes to Dallas, and Boingo Bango. There you have it. They're now the Dallas Sanders. It's all yours. Or JJ doesn't come through. I am telling you right now, we are drafting Shedeur because we need a quarterback. I'm lying. But we need a quarterback. We believe he's 1 of 2, and we believe he's better than Cam Ward, so we're taking him. And if he doesn't play down, that's on you. That's your call. He loses out on 4 years of Deion money because you and JJ won't make the trade we want. It's your call. That's how I'm handling that. So the question is, Jerry Jones, who's about that money and knows Deion makes you the number 1 most followed story by Americans coming into the season next year, is a full draft class or somewhere close to it worth getting that number 1 overall selection and taking Shedeur to bring Deion down? And is our assumption that Deion would say yes to this pending Shedeur valid and fair? Is there a chance Deion goes, hey, my son's a professional now. I can't be a helicopter dad who also owns a helicopter. I can't do that. I can't be hanging around his career when he's in the NFL. So if he goes somewhere else, he goes somewhere else, and I'll play him once every couple of years. I don't know. But based on everything Deion's been saying and doing so far, going on tours, taking tours of franchises with his kid, I got to believe Deion will do it, but only if he gets to bring his boy with him. All right, we'll see how it plays out. When we come back, controversial call early in that game last night between the Rams and the Vikings. Let's address that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Step away just a minute, guys. Stay right there for me, and I'll come back and address your comments after that. Don't go anywhere. NFL wild card round concluding last night with the Rams taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams win 27-9 in a game that really was never close. In that game, there was a controversial call against the well, not against, it wasn't a penalty. There was a controversial call on a play where Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the LA Rams, dropped back to pass. The lead was 10 at this point. Minnesota got on the board with a field goal. Then a splashy play looked like it might have turned the momentum around in that game. Stafford dropped back to pass, up 10-3. Vikings defensive end Jonathan Grenard got to Stafford for a sack, and the Rams quarterback appeared to fumble the ball. And I say appeared to fumble the ball because according to the people on the football field that had like whistles and striped shirts and stuff, they came back and said that he did not fumble the ball. Here is what was heard on the Manning cast on ESPN while this played out.
That's not a throw, right? I don't think you can say that.
He didn't. Bill, your thoughts here?
They're going to call it a pass. They're going to call it a pass.
Field is a fumble recovered by the defense. Touchdown.
They do a lot of that receiver kind of jet motion on this. I don't know if he was supposed to motion him a little bit, but you can see he was so late coming across. He ran into the left tackle.
Did in fact throw the pass forward. Number 17 was in the area. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass.
It's an offensive league. What are you guys doing? There's no rules to help the defense in the NFL. You can get away with that and call it an incomplete pass. I'll tell you, Peyton, I think that call came from upstairs or from New York. He didn't even go over and review it under the hood. Somebody came down and told him it was an incomplete pass. I think that was either replay assist or New York. So you can't get mad at the crew for that one. I don't think it was his call.
Does that stop the coach at yelling at him?
No.
It's never stopped.
No, but you can't yell in New York. You can't yell in New York. They can't hear you.
A couple of things from that clip. Number one, the irony of the benefactor of the Tuck rule saying, help the offense, no help for the defense, is hilarious. It's off the charts. It's off the charts ironic. Hilarious. Like Alanis Morissette's going to write an entire new song about how ironic it is that Hoodie's complaining that defenses don't get help.
He was right, though.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
No, when he said they're going to call it a pass.
Oh, yeah.
He was right.
Let's be clear. I'm not saying Hoodie called that perfectly. But here's the thing. It was the right call. It was the right call. My phone blew up last night. Blew up last night when this was being discussed. This is a call that I think they got right. And I think they got it right for a few reasons. Number one, the pass definitely went forward. We all agree on that. If nothing else, we agree that the ball landed further down the football field, if only by a yard. The ball landed further down the football field than where it left Stafford's arm from. Number two, I have heard this pass called underhanded a few times, as in literally, not like a shady under the table pass. No, it was an underhanded pass. It wasn't. While Stafford was facing down, because he was bent in half, falling forward with his face mask facing the grass, that arm did come forward up the football field. And number three, shockingly, there was a receiver in the area. And somebody made the argument last night. I don't remember if it was on TV or on social media or what. But somebody made the argument last night that Sam Darnold could not see that there was a receiver in the area. It doesn't matter. That's not what the rule is. The rule is receiver in the area. It doesn't matter if the quarterback sees him or not. By every metric, with which we use to determine if a pass was forward or not, and if there was a receiver in the area, it met every metric of a forward incomplete pass. I don't think they got it wrong. I think they got it right. Now, did it flip that game on its head? Absolutely. Would that have been 10-7? 10-10 in that spot? Minnesota's not just back in that game. They're in that game. They're in that game at that point. Doesn't matter. The pass was the pass. This is interesting, though. Here's what I took away from it. What I found interesting was that in a moment where the NFL, the broadcast, whatever, could have gone out of the way. And if I recall correctly, I think Buck and Aikman both said, yeah, they got that call right on the primary broadcast. I was watching the Manning cast. But on the primary broadcast, I believe Buck and Aikman both said, yeah, you may not like it. It may not look, traditional, but they got that call right. The fact that Bill Belichick, the Super Bowl winningest coach in the history of the NFL, Bill Belichick effectively, Lonzo, enhanced the conspiracy theory, right? Because there were a lot of people on social media last night that were running with the theory. And if there is one person in America that believes that at least one time the NFL made the call. And by the way, quick refresher. I mean, I don't remember think about every single day with an anger and rage that burns as brightly as 1,000 suns, the worst missed pass interference call in the history of the National Football League. But can any of you recall what team was the beneficiary of that missed call? The Los Angeles Rams. So here's Rodgers' favorite franchise again, in a spot where there's a scoop and score that makes this a tied ball game and effectively kills all the momentum the Rams built early in this game at that spot. And there's this weird call. There's this weird call. And in this weird call going down, the Rams appear to be the beneficiary. Now, again, I don't think this was a conspiracy. And I'm the first person to call for at least one play, the belief that, yeah, there was a conspiracy against my team. Not against my team. It just happened to be my team that was the victim of the conspiracy to get Rodgers' favorite franchise into the Super Bowl in their first year in LA. I'm glad they got their asses kicked. I don't think last night was a conspiracy. But that's not even what's interesting. What's interesting is that as of right now, when it comes to the National Football League, is there a more recognizable talking head on television than Bill Belichick? I don't think the answer is yes. There's a lot of NFL talking heads for sure. But are any of them more of a household name than Bill Belichick? The answer to that question is no. Now, Hoodie is not connected to the NFL anymore. There is rumors that Hoodie is interested in the Dallas job and that Hoodie could be on his way to the Big D, and I do mean Dallas, and could leave UNC high and dry. I don't believe it. But there is rumor that Hoodie has reached out and expressed interest in the Dallas Cowboy job. But as of today, this day, January 14, 2025, Bill Belichick's not connected to the NFL. However, he is right now, I believe, the most household recognized NFL talking head. And here's Hoodie on the Manning cast, which is, again, not as watched as the primary telecast, but still a very watched Monday Night Football broadcast. Here's Hoodie on the telecast. Is it unfair to say, Lonzo, that while he never directly said it, is it unfair to say that Bill Belichick right there enhanced the conspiracy theory that the NFL gets involved in games in which they have a preferred winner?
There's one guy who would recognize what would be considered cheating. It would be Bill Belichick.
I think last night's a problem for the NFL because the most recognizable talking head, and you can say it's because he's won a fistful of Super Bowl rings and then one more. You can say it because he is one of the most winningest coaches of all time. You can say it because Hoodie's on like 15 different shows and podcasts right now. You can say it because even my wife, who's not a big NFL gal, she's a Saints gal because she married me, but not a big NFL gal. Even my wife, who is not a big NFL gal, is all about the Bill Belichick drama, right? She's all about it. She's all about the Bill Belichick drama because of his college-aged, soon-to-be, if you believe reports, fiance. She's all about the drama because of the burning bridges in the NFL. She asked me not terribly long ago, could the Saints hire Bill Belichick? I was like, no, babe, nah. And I gave her all my reasons, same as I've given you on the show. And she's like, oh, so there's drama. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There's drama. And here's Hoodie on a broadcast with two of the most recognizable broadcasters, Peyton and Eli, maybe even more recognizable than Peyton and Eli, effectively spouting the conspiracy theory that the NFL, and by the way, he set it up unintentionally or not, I don't know. It's not that he said, well, you can't help the defense. This is an offensive-minded league, all of which most of us believe already. It's not that he said that. It's that he said what? This call didn't come from here. They didn't go under the hood. They didn't go check the monitor. They didn't go look at the replay. That call came from New York. Now, all of us who are football bros, we know that there's an HQ in New York. There's an eye in the sky that has access to every camera in that building, and they can buzz the ref and go,
Hey, Bill, you got that wrong, Bill. Flip that call for us, Bill.
We all know that. But the way that Hoodie put it, they didn't look at it. They didn't check it. They didn't replay it. They did not have a discussion with the people in New York. New York just made the call. Hey, flip that call over. Flip that call over. We're going to call that incomplete. And in a moment where LA, and again, as much as I don't want to work this into it, it would be foolish not to. In a heavy emotional game with all that's going on in Los Angeles, California with the wildfires right now. In a very emotional game that meant a lot for LA, Rodgers' favorite franchise. In a very emotional game, for that call to come down in that spot with no communication with the on-field officiating crew, just hey, go ahead and flip that call over on its head. And for Hoodie to point that out and make it known that that's a call that comes from New York, and you can't argue it, and you can't yell about it, and you can't yell at them because they are on the other side of the continent right now. For him to point all of that out, bad look for the league. Bad look for the league. However, it was the right call. It was the right call. It was a forward pass into the area of an eligible receiver by every metric. It doesn't matter that he was bent over, falling forward, staring at the grass in the process. None of that matters. What matters is the ball left the hand, which was traveling in a forward passing motion, and the ball went forward and landed at the feet of a receiver. That, by definition, was an incomplete pass. They got the call right. I just find it interesting that there's enough of a belief that there are conspiracy theories about the NFL being rigged that Bill Belichick effectively enhanced that. Texture said, Rob, I think either before or later on that drive, there was an unnecessary roughness on a Rams offensive lineman, and they ruled it a late hit, but the play was still going on, so I don't know how that was a late hit. So the Rams also had, there was a couple of bad calls in this game. That incomplete pass was not one of them. That call was correct. You know what else is correct? The feeling you get in the deep, dark cockles of your heart when Lonzo reads a sports flash.
Bill still gets scripts. That's how we know. The final spot in the NFL's division round was claimed last night by the LA Rams with a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Matt Stafford threw for 209 yards and a pair of touchdowns, while the defense picked off Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold, sacked him 9 times, and recovered a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. The Rams will face the Eagles in Philly next weekend. Clemson Tigers are working to finalize a contract with their new defensive coordinator, current Penn State DC Tom Allen. ESPN reports the two sides have been in negotiations and are expected to reach a decision in the upcoming days. Allen has spent 1 year in State College, where the Nittany Lions defense is ranked in the top 10 in scoring defense, rush defense, and total defense. Tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. It's Furman versus ETSU right here on your home for Furman Paladins basketball. The Fan, Upstate.
Appeared to fumble. And I
Call for your free info kit. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878.
Greenville County Animal Care is the only shelter in Greenville County that accepts animals regardless of their condition, behavior, or circumstances. While this helps most animals in need, it also brings challenges like frequent overcapacity and resource constraints. We must balance providing immediate care and finding long-term solutions for each animal, often with limited space and resources. You can help us help them by being a foster, a volunteer, donating, or even being a part of our next 5K for charity. Visit greenvillepets.org to learn more.
Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, January 17th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Sample bourbons and whiskeys from well-known distilleries while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants. Text BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com. Text and data rates may apply. Texting rules with recurring automated text messages can not required to purchase. Message data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
You lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I work in the gym and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Dun, 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 dun.
Absolutely free. Text ALL to 321321. That's all to 321321.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce...
So the Rams have won the last two playoff games in that stadium. Yes, they have. Hilariously.
Even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So if you owe $10,000 or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. The debt reduction you may qualify for. Call 800-647.
I'm so glad that you can't really whistle.
647-8866. Once again,
I really can't. My dad had the loudest whistle in the history of whistling. And whistling is apparently not genetic.
I was in McDonald's yesterday, And Don't Worry, Be Happy came on, and some dude was in there whistling to it perfectly, but not an annoying whistle. I mean, he was right there, pitch, everything. It's like, thank you. Maybe all whistling isn't bad. It's usually very annoying. If he had been whistling Patience, though, I may have needed to talk to the management. Listen, I'm trying to eat here.
Yeah. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the Great Alonzo, and you.
He didn't use his inside voice. I was guessing. I was guessing you saw
That's
that.
so good.
Yeah.
You know what I appreciate? I appreciate in professional wrestling. Fight Club with the Great Alonzo every Thursday at 9:20, where we talk some pro wrestling. I appreciate when wrestlers do like smart things, throwing the Samoan werewolf out of the building and then just locking the door. Yes, do that more. Just do stuff. Just lock the door. He can't come in if you lock the door. Like, I love wrestling sometimes. It's the best. Welcome back, folks. Great to be with you. I'm Rob. He's the Great Alonzo. Be a part of the show. 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You can call the show with that number. You can text the show with that number. You can also tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at SC Sparty. Tweeted the show during the break, so we'll do this, and then we'll get to your audio blitz. He said, Rob, I have watched a lot of NFL this year. Listening to your current conversation, I feel like the VAR-style assisted replay stuff came out of nowhere 5 or 6 weeks ago. The biggest problem is that from a fan viewing perspective, it lacks the optics of stopping the game and on-field referees having the illusion of influence in the decision when it goes under the hood. The conspiracy theory angle plays well when it's just the ref getting a message in an earpiece. It could be the same outcome if they stop the game and go under the hood, but it just looks more authentic to a lot of people, and it looks a lot less authentic when the referees are overridden 32 seconds later, the coaches don't challenge after the assist review, and the game moves on.
I want to mention something. A couple weeks ago, I noticed this happen for the first time. I forget what game I was watching, and it happened. So this is the only time this has happened. And I was like, when were they able to do that? And I remember the announcer at the time, again, I don't remember the game, saying, I guess New York must have buzzed in or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I don't know if it's been going all season long, but it seems like the last few weeks, suddenly it's been visible.
Let's go with this. I have said a bunch of times, and I can confirm because of the fact that I work 97 different jobs. I'm not paid by the National Football League to be a shill. I have called Roger Goodell a clown on this show lots of times. I do not believe that there is a vast conspiracy by which the NFL rigs games. Okay? I don't think the NFL or really any organization is capable of pulling that off. Do you understand? And I've said this before as my reasoning behind this. And I'm, as I am with any take, I am willing to accept that it is true, but I must be provided evidence of it. The NFL has thousands of employees. Thousands. This is not something that can be pulled off by 2 or 3 people. The NFL, any given weekend, has what? 60 referees on the field across games? In any given game, the NFL has like 9 officials working the game. You got a fistful on the field, you got a handful more that are off of it. The conspiracy that the NFL is making the call and going, hey, flip that call because we need to help LA out. It's just like any other conspiracy. People run to believe in conspiracies when two things happen. Number one, well, there's a bunch of reasons, but there's two primary. Number one, they just don't know what's going on. To me, one of the great weaknesses of human beings is that we don't like to say, I don't know. This is why since the dawn of humanity, 200 some odd thousand years ago, since the dawn of humanity, we have made up stories to explain things because we don't like to say, I don't know. When people back in the day could not explain thunder, it turned into there's a God up there who raises a hammer and calls upon the power of nature. Thor, the thunder god. When the ancient Greeks and Romans couldn't explain why the sun rose and set, they made up a story of an ancient god who dragged the sun across the sky behind a chariot. You can't see it, but it's there. Trust us on this. We always make up stories to explain things that we don't know. And that is down to the minutia of our day-to-day life. The average NFL fan, not the bald knowers in the Rob Brown Show armada. The average NFL fan does not know how the New York City replay system works. Why? Because the NFL has done a real bad job of explaining it. And so what happens when we have calls like last night, right? What they see is the referee put a finger to his ear to listen to something and then go tweet, actually, we're changing the call on the field. They don't know that there's another group of people that have the ability to overrule the officiating crew, that have all the camera angles and the ability to watch plays as they are happening in real time and in super slow motion before the players are even standing back up. They don't know all that because the NFL doesn't explain all of that. It's a real simple thing here. The NFL, as mentioned, has a bunch of dudes in New York City sitting in a room that have every camera available in the building, and they are watching the plays in real time. And the moment that the ref blows the whistles, they push the rewind button, and they back it up, and they start watching that thing from every angle in slow-mo and saying, is there anything we missed? Is there anything egregious we missed? I think that's the other aspect of it, is people are looking, and they are going, wait a minute. If they can overturn that call and get that call right, why are they not doing it for everything? And the answer is because the NFL cares about one thing more than they care about anything else. Having a good TV product, right? They care more about having a good television product than they care about anything else. This is why we have changed. Yeah, you can make the argument that like maybe player safety, but even that's up in the air. But they care more about having a good television product than they care about anything else. Why? Because that's where the money comes from the TV contracts, from those contracts with Fox and NBC and Paramount Plus and Netflix and yada, yada, yada. That's where most of the money comes from. And so if they had on the screen a group of officials who are nothing more than the relay men that don't, seeing a flag fly in, there was a run late in that game from Kyron Williams that he reeled off, 20-something yards or whatever. And if that's a first down, we know the Rams are winding another 2.5 minutes off the clock. And if it's a penalty and they back it up, now all of a sudden, okay, maybe Minnesota, if they get the ball, they score in 2-3 plays. Like maybe it's a 2-possession game. Maybe there's something happening here. And as Kyron Williams breaks across, as he's running down the field, a yellow hanky flies in from the right side of the screen. And what do we all do? Uh-oh, is that a hold? Is it a face mask? What do we got here? Because that flag can change the game on a dime. How many times have I said, There is one thing that American sports fans love more than anything else. What is it? Drama. Drama. Sports is drama. We love drama. Sports is reality TV show for bros. That's what it is. We love drama. We like characters, we like entertainment, and we like drama. And a flag flying in is dramatic, especially in a moment like that. And so if the New York HQ was stepping in every time there was any sort of controversy on the field, in that spot, if New York is making those calls, what happens? The drama comes out of the game. That yellow hanky flying into your TV picture is dramatic. If the referee blows the play dead and everybody's lined up and then they just turn the camera on the ref and he goes, tweet, New York City is telling us that there's a holding on number 72 on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat. There's no drama in that. The TV product suffers for it. And so since the NFL's done a real bad job at explaining all of this and are trying to keep the drama up on the TV product because that's their priority, you end up in situations like what you had last night, where the rule was properly enforced, in my opinion. It was a forward pass. Doesn't matter how ugly, unorthodox, untraditional it looked. It was a forward pass. And so if they are ruling it correctly, which in my ever so humble yet usually correct opinion, they absolutely did. If that is the case, that upped the drama. They got the call right. They took a tutty off the board. The momentum that had been all Rams and then suddenly was all Vikings was then once again all red. There's a whole bunch of that there. So I am unsurprised that they went through all this. What I am surprised at is that they have done such a bad job at explaining how all of this works. They have done such a bad job of laying out there for we, the people, how this system plays out. That here is Bill Belichick, perhaps, not definitely, but perhaps the most noticeable non-player in the NFL. So if I asked you right now, NFL-centric talking heads, I'm not talking about a guy like McAfee who is doing an all-around sports show or whatever. Just guys who are dialed in on the NFL. Is there a non-player that is more recognized than the hoodie right now? I can't think of one if there is.
See, but doesn't count because he's an ex-coach.
Doesn't matter. I'm saying non-player.
I guess you could throw in guys like Rex Ryan or ex-GMs like Tannenbaum or someone like that. I don't know.
If you and I went right now to our respective better halves and showed them pictures of Rex Ryan and Hoodie, which one do they know by name? Hoodie. My wife does. I know Miss Lisa knows ball. I assume she'd go, that's Hoodie.
She knows both of them.
Yeah,
So
well, okay.
I can't help
Above
it.
average ball knower.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay?
Above
average ball
again,
knower.
she watches when I'm not home.
The point
so.
is, Hoodie is the most recognizable non-player or former player in the NFL circuit right now. And when that dude is on the broadcast of the NFL game saying, hey, the NFL helps offenses. Now, I want to be clear. Nothing Hoodie said is wrong. We all agree that the NFL is set up to help the offenses be electric, right? We all agree with that. That's been a conversation amongst NFL fans for years now, to the point that we've all accepted it. This is just what it is. This is the game. He's not wrong about that. He's not wrong that the folks in New York can make the call and go, hey, Bill, that's wrong. Overturn it. You'll notice I keep using the name Bill, because Bill is the name of the referee who got the worst call in the history of the NFL wrong. Bill, son of a Vinovich. Everything Bill said is correct. But if you are not plugged in, tuned in, paying attention to it, the way that Bill put the whole thing 100% sounds like a conspiracy theory. And I think at SC Spartan on Twitter actually nailed it. He said, I don't think there is a conspiracy at all, but the new optics don't help them with what they have conditioned viewers to expect when changing a referee's decision. And I agree. I'll tell you what the NFL does to fix this. Real simple. Copy soccer. Copy soccer. If New York is taking a look with the possibility of overturning a call, put a frame around the TV that says call under review in New York or whatever. Call under review by NFL HQ. Put a little box around the television screen that says call under review by NFL. Not officials, whatever. In soccer, when they go to a VAR, they do two things. Number one, they show the referee on the sideline, who, by the way, it's league to league, but in most leagues, when a call's under VAR consideration, the on-field referee does not go stand in front of a monitor. You know where he does? He goes and he stands at the spot where the midfield line hits the sideline with the in between the two head coaches. And he has a little headset on, and he stands there, and he listens, and he talks, and he engages in the conversation, right? They make it quiet, and then they put a box around it that says VAR review. And he does this big dramatic thing, the referee on the field does, where he looks at the camera, and he makes a rectangle out of his fingers, as in, I'm going to look at the big TV over there to see if we got this right. He lets everybody know what's happening. The NFL did not do any of that. They just tweet. Actually,
I'm going to capture what you just did and put a song behind it. I'm not sure which song to do.
The soccer does a good job of letting the fans know what is happening, why it's happening, how it's happening, and then after it's happened, what happened. The NFL has not done any of that. And then I got Hoodie out here making it sound as if there is some vast global conspiracy going on that helped the Rams in that spot, which is interesting.
You know, what if there was? What if all this is real? What if the NFL decides who they want to win? Does that make you watch less?
If it's yes,
because it's just wrestling. I mean,
agree.
You watch a lot of wrestling. So.
Here's the thing. I watch a lot of wrestling. Why? Because I know it's scripted entertainment and I enjoy it. And there's characters and drama and storyline. If I'll tell you right now, and this is somebody who has been in this game for 17 years and some change now. If tomorrow somebody came out with empirical, undebatable proof that the NFL rigged games, Lonzo, we would never talk NFL on this show again. Never. The same way, if somebody provided me empirical truth that a significant other cheated on me, you broke my trust. You made me look like a butthole for a long time. There's no coming back from that. I don't believe that's happening. I believe everything that happened last night was completely valid and justified. There was only one time in the history of the NFL that I truly believe it was a conspiracy theory, and that was the worst missed call in the history of the National Football League.
There it is.
That's the only time there's ever actually been all the other ones, there's not. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We'll do the audio blitz next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're back. Stay right there for me. program today. You're welcome to do it. Let's get to the audio blitz here. The best audio we've picked up since the last time we did the audio blitz, which was yesterday, as a matter of fact. Tiger Woods, y'all, will be making his debut in the TGL tonight, which I'm going to tell you straight up, appointment viewing for me at this point. I had so much fun watching it last week, and tonight we get it again with Tiger back. And here's the fun part about it for me for Tiger Woods. Ain't that much walking involved. I genuinely think what is killed Tiger at the tournaments he's tried and failed to play in has been the fact that when you play around in golf, you're walking like 2.5, 3 miles. And when you're playing it on a PGA course that is Tiger-proofed, you're walking like 4.5 miles. And for a guy that's got everything in his legs replaced with metal rods and whatnot, probably ain't all that easy. Tonight, TGL, just go out there and hit the ball, Tiger. You're going to walk like 15 feet from the simulator drive to the simulator green. Let's see. Anyway, Tiger plays on the team out of Jupiter, Florida. They go at it tonight. Tiger was asked, what's the secret weapon that is going to help the Jupiter golf team thrive in the TGL?
We got a lot of swag, don't we? We're good. We're good in the swag game. Well, it's not strategy. It's Riz, baby. We got Riz. We got Riz.
I can't believe you made Tiger say that.
We got Riz, baby.
So you got someone getting an old guy to say a word, and you could tell he doesn't feel very comfortable with it. And,
no one said anything about Riz to Tiger. That was his pure answer. They were like, yo, what's this team
didn't
got?
The guy at the end say you got Tiger to say Riz?
Yeah, not as in they said, Tiger, say Riz. That was just his answer. They said, what's your secret sauce for this team? And Tiger's answer was Riz. And I think
so. The part where he said, you got Tiger to say Riz, you just discount that whole part.
No, it's an expression. They asked Tiger the question. That was his go-to answer.
And then they said, here, answer it this way. It's a work, dude.
Why do you take the fun out of everything, Lonzo? Why can't I just have a 58-year-old Tiger Woods, not 58, a 58-year-old Tiger Woods being a dude who's still got it to say Riz?
Because
like me.
Because as you're making your transition to an old, you got to realize there's just some words that it's not going to sound right when you're older saying it.
I say it.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound right when you say it.
I ain't old.
Yeah,
I still got it.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones is the general manager and also, I guess, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. The DLLS podcast. That's Dallas, but they took the A's out. It's creative branding as the branding genius behind the name The Rob Brown Show. I respect it.
You would have to say DLLS because how else would you say it?
The DLS pod. Jeff Kavanaugh is the host, and they're having fun watching the Cowboys saga play out.
Well, he should have waited if he wanted the Cowboys job.
For sure, but he had a bird in the hand.
People don't do that. People are
I know,
smart.
but
They're
they
worried about their
weren't
future.
Sure. I mean, that's typical of the Cowboys. They weren't sure. They didn't know they were moving on. If they'd have known that, they wouldn't have taken a week after the season.
But that's why they're broken.
I agree.
That's why we are polling for the dumbest team in pro sports.
Yeah, but Bill Belichick,
like Bill Belichick's supposed to sit on his ass with a job offer, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, I'll give you." But hey, just hold on. And Bill says, "Listen, just hold on for a couple of weeks. I need to see in a couple of weeks what the landscape is like." In North Carolina's like, "Well, coaches are going off the board. We can't do that, Bill. We have to hire a guy." And Bill's like, "Yeah, but I don't know. We have to see if Mike McCarthy's going to take a low ball offer from Jerry Jones, or if he's going to want to be treated like a real adult. And if he's going to want to be treated like a real adult, then Jerry's going to be like, well, that doesn't really work for me. And I don't really have a plan because I didn't set up the things that were going to be behind that if we weren't going to come to an agreement because I don't know what I'm doing."
I don't know why.
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's so fun
Is
to
he
me.
demonically possessed? I mean, what is going on there?
This is, you'll recall, we've had a couple of bites over the past month or so of really frustrated Dallas Cowboys fans calling out JJ. This cat,
I don't know what I'm doing,
is one of them. This is just a level of aggravation and frustration that you can only reach.
I don't know what I'm doing
as a Dallas fan.
All right, a thing just popped up on my feed. He always riz girls. All right, so that's what it says. So just because you said that
Tiger
word
got Riz.
and you had Tiger say that word, now it's showing up on my X feed.
Tiger got
I
Riz.
don't need that word.
Riz?
Yeah, it's another
Keep up, Grandpa.
dumb thing said by the kids.
You're losing your aura right now.
I don't have no aura. Probably didn't have one when I was at that age either. So whatever.
AJ Brown is an intellectual.
So AJ Brown, well, we're figuring that out. He, he's a little frustrated. Obviously, he hasn't seen too many balls today. He's going to read a little passage here.
I haven't seen too many people read books, but I've seen a quarterback eat a hot dog.
How is Tom Brady such a charisma vacuum? He's just not good at this.
What did that mean? Did he get caught eating a hot dog before?
No.
Okay, all right. I don't get the reference.
There was gosh darn it, who was it? Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez got caught eating a hot dog on the sideline during a game once. Like a game he was playing in. Like in a game he was playing in, Mark Sanchez ate a hot dog on the sideline.
Was he diabetic and felt like he had to eat something?
He is the quarterback of an NFL team.
So?
If he goes, hey, guys, my blood sugar's low or whatever, I'm relatively sure the training staff is going to be like, word, dog, here's a glizzy. They got stuff. They're an NFL team. All right? But
okay.
A glizzy, a hot dog.
I don't think they would say that.
They'd say, exactly.
Only you and about 5 or 6 other people even use that word.
No. It's very popular. Anyway, AJ Brown was asked about the book that he was reading on the sideline as he was reading effectively a self-help book called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. Murphy summed up the book's message as have a clear mind and remember that nothing else matters, negative or positive. AJ Brown explained why during a playoff game, he's over there flipping pages on the sideline.
That's a book that I bring every single game. And, you know, my teammates call it the recipe. You know, that's the first time I heard that y'all got me on camera. But that's not the first game. You know, it got a lot of points in there. It's a lot of mental game, a lot of mental parts about it. And, you know, but for me, you know, this game is mental. You know, I physically believe I can do anything and everything, but you know, I got to make sure I'm mentally good. So it's something like how I refresh every drive. You know, regardless of if I score a touchdown or I drop a pass, I always go back to that book every drive and just refocus and nothing matters, nothing happens, just relog back in. But you know, so
is there a certain passage?
No, felt good, felt real good. You know, moving around really good. You know, it didn't show it on the stat, but you know, I did a lot. You know, today, you know, for my teammates blocking and stuff, so you know, it's all good.
I gotta tell you, for a dude who at points in his career has genuinely felt like there were spots that he was going to knock a quarterback out, I kind of appreciate this out of AJ Brown. Had a game where, you know, you heard it said right there, wasn't seeing a lot of footballs, not a lot of passes coming his way. My man's over on the sideline effectively meditating with a book. I immensely respect that. My man's seeing where the weakness in the game is and taking advantage of it. That's awesome. Good on him. All right, I got two quick clips I'm going to play for you, both of which I think are impactful, and then we're taking a break. Real short. They're both less than 10 seconds. Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba, was doing a podcast with Joe Mazzulla, head coach of the Celtics, who we played a bunch of clips for you because Mazzulla is unintentionally the funniest coach in the history of the NBA. And Mazzulla asked Scalabrine, do you think you could play in the NBA today?
I'm not lasting 5 minutes, but I'm getting closer. You shouldn't tell people that. Very well played, Joe.
Scalabrine said, I'm not lasting 5 minutes. And Mazzulla said, like an absolute bro, you shouldn't tell people that. And Scalabrine lost his mind. That clip was for me. All right, and you know, in the NFL, you have these You have these monumental calls, these calls that come at spots in games that you hear them and you go, we're going to be talking about that call for a very long time. We are going to be talking about the eloquence, about the execution of that call. This is going to be a call I tell my grandkids about. This is going to be a call that is played on sports talk radio shows for decades into the future. I don't think Chris Collinsworth has many of those calls, but he did when the Commanders walked off the Buccaneers.
That may have been the 6 inches that made the difference in fixing that shoe. Right there. That was the 6 inches right there.
Chris Collinsworth with an all-time legacy call. That's why everybody loves Chris Collinsworth. All right, when we come back, a very successful college football coach had a take yesterday that I want you to listen to, because I think he said something that I've been saying something for a very long time. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
You know, you started humming when the commercial was on and your mic was still on.
Oh, I turned it off.
No, I turned your mic off. You didn't see me. Did you get why I played it?
I was trying to figure
You said nothing else matters like 10 times in there. It's all right. I got it, and I thought it was amazing. The only one when someone says nothing else matters thinks Metallica. I mean, you know.
All right, back, guys. Got to talk about something off the air. Stay right there for me. All right, thanks for hanging in there, dudes and dudettes.
Open enrollment is going on now, but not for long. Don't risk going uninsured in 2025. South Center on Woodruff Road in Greenville. Casey and his team of experts can help you find a health plan that fits you and your budget. Open enrollment is ending, so schedule your no-cost appointment today at scbluehereforyou.com.
Experience a night of indulgence with bourbon and bacon. It's an evening of sampling bourbons and whiskeys from local, new, and well-known distilleries, while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants in our area. A night of pure indulgence with mounds of bacon, flowing rivers of bourbon, allocated bourbon flavors to tantalize your taste buds. The 5th annual Bourbon and Bacon Fest at the Foundry at Judson Mill in downtown Greenville. Friday, January 17th. Bourbon, bacon, cigars and sweets, VIP, general admission, and designated driver tickets are on sale now. Your participation directly supports Carolina Adaptive Golf, benefiting veterans and individuals overcoming physical or mental trauma. Don't miss out on the Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, January 17th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Secure your tickets at bourbonandbaconfest.com. That's bourbonandbaconfest.com. Sponsored in part by Alliance Distilling, Buzzard's Roost Sipping Whiskey, and Basil Hayden Whiskey.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable Scent Beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, watch, wow, for all-day freshness.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan prices. Fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
Punch your ticket to the best local stores. 97.7 FM Bloomfield, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. No need to check the clock. It's Rob Brown time.
I'm a winner. I know how to win.
Word. Welcome back.
Classy.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Up State. I have two clips from the world of all places, college basketball, that I want to get to here on the show, and I find them both interesting.
When does that start?
Early December.
Oh, okay. All right.
Of last year. It'll start assuming it'll start again in early December of this year, but
Oh, okay. Because I'll have to check that out.
yeah.
Next year, I guess.
I mean, you can check it out now. It's literally happening.
You just said early December of next year.
Yeah, but also early December of last year.
Okay.
Okay. Two clips here. I want to start with this one. Rick Barnes is the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team. On that team, which spent a good chunk of this season as the number one ranked team in men's college basketball. That was before they lost by 30 to the University of Florida.
That's bad.
In basketball terms, yeah, that's real bad. So they lost by 30 to Florida. They have been replaced atop the college basketball rankings by now number one Auburn. They did get back on it on a road win at Texas, 74-70. Well, in that game, one of their starting guards, cat by the name of Chaz Lanier, was surprisingly sat down in the game. He was pulled off of the floor with no in-game explanation from Rick Barnes. He was taken out of the game. He had very limited playing time the rest of the ride.
Load management?
No, actually. Rick Barnes explained in the postgame.
I took him out first play of the second half because he didn't shoot the ball. I mean, that play was designed for that shot. And I told him, I said, if you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do, you sit over here because he is getting paid to do that.
So that's why you play this.
Rick Barnes said, I pulled Chaz Lanier because coming out of a timeout, he drew up a play that resulted in an off-screen shot for Chaz Lanier. I actually went back and found that play. It was very clearly designed for that shot. Chaz Lanier came off of one screen on the elbow, wrapped around another screen at the top of the key, received a pass from the free throw line, extended, and did not shoot. Now, we did have a trailing defender, and it would have been a contested shot, but the contest would have come from his left into, which means either likely you're getting that ball off, no problem. You might have a hand in the face, but you're getting the ball off, or you're probably taking a shooting foul from the defender. Good. This is a three-point shot, too. He didn't shoot. Instead, he feigned the shot and then skipped the pass back to the original ball handler who was guarded outside of the line. So Rick Barnes said, I took him out on the first play of the second half because he didn't shoot the ball. That play was designed for that shot. And I told him, I said, if you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do, you sit over there, because he is getting paid to do that. That's interesting. We can dial in on, as I saw the almost expression I would dare say of joy come across Lonzo's face in hearing a big-time college coach admitting that that's what this kid's getting paid to do, right? I'm not super interested in that. And I'll tell you why. Because that's not what he's getting paid to do. He's getting paid to lend his name, image, and likeness to various sources. The only reason he has a name, image, and likeness that businesses are willing to pay him for is because he can do that. That's why. But I find it interesting that Rick Barnes put it that way.
Running for president in 4 years. Will you be? No, you're still not. You got to be what? 44?
Yeah, I'm not old enough.
Yeah, you'll be close to that, because how you politically skirt this every single time.
I'm not politically skirting. I'm defining.
You're trying to use words to twist things in a way to make it sound like when the coach clearly said he's getting paid to do it.
Right, but see, here's the thing. That's not what he's getting paid to do. I applaud
him for saying that, and hopefully more will come out and say that, because it's the truth.
No, it's not. It is what his ability to do that, his ability to do that well enough to be a starter on what was the number one team in America. The reason that he gets paid to give his name, image, and likeness to various sources is because he can do that, and that's why we know him. We wouldn't know who Chaz Lanier was if he wasn't a 6'7" guy with a 3-point shot playing for this team. We wouldn't know who he was, but we do know who he is. We know who he is because he's a good basketball player on one of the best 2 or 3 basketball teams in America, and because we know him, he gets paid. Chris Pratt is on Monopoly Go ads right now. Is Chris Pratt being paid to play Monopoly Go? No. He's being paid because we know Star-Lord / Andy Dwyer / all these other things Pratt has done. Monopoly Go is paying him to put his face on their product. Same thing here. But I will say this. I do applaud Rick Barnes for one thing. It is not what he is saying here. What I am applauding Rick Barnes in doing here is what I have been yelling to people unhappy about NIL since the inception of NIL. If you don't like what is happening, then don't do it. Well, I don't think these kids should get paid. Then don't pay them. You're not obligated to offer an NIL dollar to anybody. You're not obligated to do it. You can, you have the right, you have the ability. But if a kid If you feel a kid is showing up just for the money, and you don't think that he is earning the dollar bills, y'all, then tell the collective, stop giving this kid money. It's really not tough. It's like any other job. If you feel like a kid is not earning the dollars, don't play him.
You can tell an entity that you don't control to stop paying someone who supposedly is not getting paid. So if I'm saying, hey, stop paying him, that means I'm in charge telling you to not pay him, which means he's technically getting paid because I say he gets paid. Because if you have the power to tell them to not pay him, then you have the power to tell them to pay him.
Watch this. Let me show you why that's not accurate. Lonzo.
You're going to be wrong.
No, I'm not. Watch. I'll prove it right now.
You've been on this for how many years?
Watch. I'll prove it right now. Lonzo, go get me breakfast right now.
If you were my boss, I would go get you breakfast.
Right, but I'm not in charge. I can say it. I can tell you to do it, but you're not going to do it because I'm not in charge. I don't have any power.
Well, come around here. What do you want?
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, do you want McDonald's? You want me to pick up something? I mean,
I have the ability to tell you to do anything. What I don't have the ability is to make you do it. Rick Barnes could say right now, don't give this kid NIL dollars. Do you know what he doesn't have the power to do to make the NIL dollars stop?
He does have the power, because if he benches him, then he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, the thing that he's getting paid for doesn't exist anymore. The NIL goes, okay, he's not playing. I'll give the money to someone who is playing. So he does have that power.
And there is the power. The power is Rick Barnes could right now call, I don't know, Wawa and say, hey, Wawa, which is a real gas station that people in the North think is in any way, shape, or form comparable to Buc-ee's. It's not.
Okay, they're both just gas stations. Stop worshiping things.
Buc-ee's is so much more than that. But he could call Wawa and go, stop giving this kid NIL money. And Wawa could go, you got it, coach. Or they could go, hey, coach, go yourself. We're going to pay this kid because he's that acknowledgeable. Rick Barnes can't do anything about that. You know what Rick Barnes can do? Rick Barnes can say, yeah, I don't think it's justified. I think what you're doing on the floor isn't justified. So go sit down. Take a seat. Take several seats. Go put your ass on the pine. Go sit down over there. Go take a squat. And, we'll see if I feel like giving you another shot at it later on. This is one thing that I think so many of y'all have some sort of feeling, inkling, belief. I think you have some inkling of belief that, like, coaches lost all their power to the NIL. No. Coaches lost their ability to lie to players.
What will it take for you to say that the players are being paid by the universities, and therefore they are employees?
I know for a fact you know what an endorsement is. I know for a fact you know what an endorsement is.
Not for the last couple of years, I don't.
I didn't say you had one. I said you know what they are, okay? I know for a fact you know what an endorsement is. I am not paid to work for Three Friends Bar and Grill, the official lunchtime destination to the Rob Brown Show.
By the way, I just asked you, what will it take for you to say that they're paid employees?
For schools to put them on salary as basketball players.
Okay. All right. That
for them to be an employee.
That's going to happen.
Like any other,
they're working towards that.
I agree.
So, yeah.
But they aren't there yet, which is why I said this kid is not getting paid to play basketball.
He is, though.
He is not. He is getting paid to endorse products, just like you and I do. And we get endorsed because people know us from doing the radioing. We don't get paid to work for Three Friends. Three Friends pays us to endorse Three Friends because people know us from the radioing. And also, wonderful selection there on Three Friends Bar and Grill menu. Check them out. That's how that works. But what I'm saying here is the point of this is not NIL. The point of this is too many of you guys believe that coaches have lost all of their power and ability to be coaches to NIL in the portal. And that is frustratingly untrue.
This is the first time that I recall anyone doing it this way and saying what he said.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that too. Again, Rick Barnes knows Chaz Lanier is not getting paid to play, but he is getting paid because he plays.
And he'll
if
be
he's getting
transferring
paid,
out here pretty soon.
maybe
to go
so.
somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe so. And this is where I'd tell Rick Barnes, like I've told every coach in America, if you don't want to deal with that, then don't recruit kids like that. It is still your power to build the roster. If you don't want a kid who puts money above substance on the field, hardwood, gridiron, court, diamond, whatever, then don't recruit that kid. Do a better job of evaluating your players and deciding who fits the culture and who does not. All right, when we come back in the final hour of the show, Clemson has their sights set on their next defensive coordinator, and Dabo, all of the sudden, looks like he's running a football team in the 2020s. I'll tell you about that when we come back. I am Rob Brown, Lonzo on the ones and twos, and on this Sports Flash.
Rob forgot swimming pools, which is proof he hates swimmers. You all know that. Cannot stand swimmers.
Beach, dude.
The Clemson Tigers are working to finalize, I snorted, a contract with their new defensive coordinator, current Penn State DC Tom Allen. ESPN reports the two sides have been in negotiations and are expecting to reach a decision in the upcoming days. Allen has spent 1 year in State College, where the Nittany Lions defense is ranked in the top in scoring defense, rush defense, and total defense. The final spot in the NFL's divisional round was claimed last night by the LA Rams with a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Matt Stafford threw for 209 yards and a pair of touchdowns in the victory. Tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. It's Furman versus ETSU right here on your home for Furman Paladins basketball. It's us. It's the fan. It's the fan upstate. I hereby resign. He made me snort on the air, as in laughter. And yeah, I don't do that. I have better control. Those are the best kind of heel turns, James. The ones you don't see coming. Yes, Stephen, I just wanted to laugh the entire time. So it's perhaps some Canadian came out, eh? We were talking about Minnesota, eh? And Rob believes that Minnesotans sound like Canadians. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah. A heel turn on swimmers is I literally swim, dude. Well, I used to, not as much as when I lived near, water.
Paladin fans looking to see great basketball at an even better price, then check out the SoCon 3-game mini pack. January 18th, Furman against Chattanooga. February 15th, Furman against UNCG. And February 27th.
So what's the next card game that I should teach my 6-year-old granddaughter?
What have we done so far?
Well, she is Go Fish and War.
Okay. War's a good one. Oh, I learned of a new one the other day called Garbage.
Yeah, I played it before.
Have you played that?
It's been so long that I don't remember how to play it, but I
You
have
have
played
10
it before.
cards, and like you take a card and flip it, and then you put it in the spot where that number would go. Flip that card, move it, and then you draw. And once you run out of places to put a card in its spot, you put that card down and your turn. Then the player on the other side goes, and once you fill up all 10 cards with the right spot, jacks are wild, kings and queens are trash or garbage. Once you can't move any more cards into their spot on the table in numerical order, your turn's over. You go back and forth. And once you fill up all 10, that round ends. You take number 10 off the board. You have 9 spots. The other guy has 10. You keep going until somebody gets to where they just have 1 spot on the board left to fill.
She got a thing for Christmas that had a bunch of different card games in it. Had no idea where it came from. Santa Claus, obviously. And there's a couple other games in there like Old Maid. I played Old Maid before, but it's been so long. I'll have to learn the rules again and try to figure out if she can handle it. I would like to teach her how to play rummy or gin rummy or euchre. But I don't remember how to play euchre. I do remember how to play rummy, though. Maybe I need to pick up Uno. I think that's
like
something.
Uno?
I think that's something she might be
Do you
able
like
to handle.
Uno?
Can't just play all video games. Got to play some other games too, and shoots and ladders and stuff like that. You know?
I don't know what I'm doing. The Rob Brown Show, final hour of the radio program goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Fan Upstate. Be a part of the show, won't you? 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. That is the number to call and text the show if you want to get at it. You can jump at us on the Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate to get to everybody up in here. You can shoot me an email if you want. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. What else? What am I missing? Oh, watch the live stream. That's right. Shout out to the folks on the stream. Let's see who's in there right now. Steven, James, Zach, Will, a different Zach, Kane, not Glenn Jacobs. And we've had a couple other folks. Mike's up in there this morning. All the folks on the live stream, you can join and comment as well. Facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, or the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All the different ways to get in touch with the radio program. And you know what we have not hyped in the year of 2025? The Ray Memorial Hotline is still a thing. All right? Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. It is available to you right now. Go to the Fan Upstate page on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Click on the little heart icon so that every time you open the Odyssey app, AUDACY, it takes you right to the Fan Upstate page. And in the middle of that page, you'll see a little button that says record a voice note. Hit that button. Record a voice note up to 60 seconds and send it to us so that Lonzo and I can play it on the air and respond to it. The Ray Memorial Hotline is available. It was picking up steam. Then we hit the holiday break. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of got a little disappointed because I really thought when we got rolling into 2025, the Ray Memorial Hotline was going to pop off to the moon. I will also tell you, and this is kind of the same thing, but not, that by Thursday's show, we will have the Rob Brown Show voicemail set up as well. There will be a number that you can call from any phone at any point, at any time, and leave us a voicemail that we can come back and listen to and play as well. Captain America Chris Evans down the hall has been setting that up for us. It will be ready by Thursday morning for y'all to utilize and call at any point to say anything that you wish to say on that message. But we have that and the Ray Memorial Hotline for free on the audio app. Definitely very easy, simple ways for you to get your voice heard, unfiltered, uncensored, except for where I censor it on the show. All right, let's get to this. Clemson football has got to find a new defensive coordinator. We have talked about that, obviously. It appears that Clemson may have found their new defensive coordinator. He is former, or maybe soon to be former, Penn State defensive coordinator Tom Allen. Allen has, according to reports, emerged as Clemson's top target. The Decides expect a decision to be formalized in, according to Pete Thamel, quote, the upcoming days, end quote. Allen is a former head coach at Indiana. He thrived in his lone season as the DC in State College, as Penn State had a defense that ranked in the top 10 in scoring defense, total defense, and rush defense. He is a veteran defensive coordinator that has coached at different levels, different schools, and different positions. Aside from being the HC at Indiana and the DC at Penn State, he was also the DC at Indiana before his promotion. He was the DC at USF, also served 3 seasons as an assistant coach at Ole Miss, and during his time in Indiana, led the Hoosiers to a pair of bowl games across 7 years as the HC. Thamel reports that family geography loomed large in Allen's decision to move on to Clemson, as it would position the Allen family closer to their 2 daughters, who both live in the Carolinas. Allen's son, Thomas, is likely to join the Clemson staff in an analyst role, as he currently works at Penn State as a defensive analyst and analytics coordinator. Tom Allen, of course, replaces, if he does accept the job and it becomes official, dismissed defensive coordinator Wes Goodwin, who ran a defense which got shellacked, gave up 292 rushing yards to Texas in their college football playoff loss in the opening round. Tom Allen is, according to Pete Thamel, quote, an upbeat and positive leader, which would mesh well with the vibe Dabo Swinney has long maintained at Clemson, end quote. So, let's talk about this.
How good was his defenses against good teams?
I mean, Penn State was in the college football playoff semifinal, and I gave all of the credit for Penn State making it to the college football playoff semifinal to the defense. I'll put it this way. Penn State didn't get where Penn State got because Drew Aller's a stud. Penn State got where Penn State got because their defense was like running wild on you, brother. I mean, they were heated. That's a good defense.
I wonder, will he be able to acclimate to the Clemson way?
Here's the thing. Based on what I've read about this cat, I don't think the answer could possibly anything but yeah. I mean, he's seen, from what I've read about him, and again, obviously I don't have a ton of Tom Allen contact outside of his on-the-field coaching. But from what I understand, he is very well liked. From what I understand, he is very well connected with his players. From what I understand, he is, again, as Thamel wrote, and I've heard this from a couple of different places, upbeat, positive guy, which is the Clemson vibe. But here, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you asked that question the way you asked that question, because I kind of want to point something out here. In the past 4 weeks, what have we seen out of Clemson? We have seen Dabo Swinney take now 3 players out of the transfer portal, which for a lot of programs, pretty par for the course, right? For Dabo, these are players 1, 2, and 3 that he's taken out of the portal. Now, we had John Blau with the Post and Courier on a couple of weeks ago when Tristan Smith, the wide receiver out of Southeast Missouri State, SEMO, came on board. And I said, John, Dabo got a transfer portal player. Is the world about to turn upside down? And John Blau said, well, Rob, let's keep in mind, Dabo's made offers to guys in the portal before. They just haven't accepted them. So it's not like he hasn't tried. And that's fair point.
Also known as saying no.
That's fair point. He said that it's not that Dabo's been unwilling. He's made offers. They just haven't taken them. But I would also point out that, much like recruiting itself, it's a numbers game. If you only make 2 offers, the likelihood that you get even one player is not very high. It's just like recruiting. When colleges are, I heard a story yesterday, and I wish I'd have saved the sound from it. But there's a former NFL coach who he told the story about being a tight ends coach at Arizona State. And he was talking about how his recruiting process worked. And he said, usually, I was told how many tight ends I could bring on board under scholarship. And he said, most years that was 1, sometimes it was 2. And he said, here's the thing you got to understand. In order to know I'm getting a tight end, I had to offer like 12 scholarships. And he said, I can't tell you how many times I would have my rankings, my wish list of tight ends on the board. And I would get a commitment from the tight end I had ranked 7th on the board. And then sometimes I had to call that guy and go, yeah, I know I made you an offer. And yeah, I know you're committed, but I can't actually give you that spot. Why? Because I got to wait to see if numbers 1 through 6 might accept. Now, I may still have that scholarship for you, and I might not, blah, blah, blah. The point is, this guy would go make 12 or 13 or 14 offers to bring in 1 tight end. Tight end! We're not talking 5-star quarterback. We're not talking 5-star wide receiver. We're talking tight end. Make 12 offers to get 1 tight end. For me, if Dabo has made offers but gotten 0 transfer portal players, that just means that Dabo dabbled in the portal, didn't actually use it. Well, he's got 3 out of this portal cycle. And have you heard Dabo? And I'm going to give this to him as a positive. Little green check mark off to the side. Have we heard Dabo Swinney recently be openly anti-NIL? Remember when NIL was started, what did Dabo say? If we're going to start paying guys, I'll just go coach in the NFL because that's not what I'm here for. And you'll notice that he didn't go to the NFL. Actively didn't go to the NFL. So, with that being said, I haven't heard Dabo saying anything negative about it now. I haven't seen him out there promoting it, but at least he's not talking out against it. And sometimes that's a positive. I'll give him that. And now, when he had arguably the second most important coaching position on the roster come open, this is a spot where, for the second time in a row now, Dabo did not promote from within. Dabo didn't go get, a former player who signed on as a GA and then worked his way up to an analyst and then worked his way from analyst to position coach and then position coach to assistant coach and then from assistant coach. He didn't do that this time. What did he do? He went and he is pulling a coordinator from a Power 4 Big Ten job, from a school that just rode its defense to a college football playoff semifinal game. I'm going to tell you right now. Dabo's turning a page right now. All of you people that have been on Dabo's ass about not running a modern-day contemporary college football program, based on what we've seen so far, I think those critiques, criticisms, and complaints have come to their conclusion. Because now I got a guy, and Blue Cane just popped up, so now we got Cane and Blue Cane in the chat. Blue Cane just popped up and said it's been the opposite. He said something to the effect of, with revenue sharing in place, nobody's going to have more money than Clemson. Which isn't true, but I respect it. You got to say good things if you're the HC, right? But you're right. An embrace of NIL, an embrace and active in the transfer portal, and now not bringing up Clemson guys, but actively stepping out to find the best most experienced, and most successful Power 5, Power 4, Power however many coaches to come fill roles, I think we can acknowledge now that Dabo Swinney has joined the modern era of college football. I think, and by the way, this is a compliment. This is not a criticism. There's going to be a lot of old school football fans who are going to beat up on Dabo. Oh, you gave in, Dabo. You were the bastion of sanctity in college football. Going to be a lot of people like that.
Bring in a daggum Yankee help because can't get anyone around there to go daggum do like.
He coached at Pennsylvania.
I know.
A lot of people are going to critique Dabo for giving in, for letting the mob win, for letting. Here's the reality, my dudes. You're not winning without doing it. You're not winning without doing it. And if best is the standard, I'll tell you right now, I don't know which defensive coordinators available would be a better hire than Tom Allen. Because here's the thing. You still got your culture, your mentality, the power of positivity at Clemson, right? You got that culture built in there. And from everything I've read, Tom Allen fits that mentality. This is not a dude that's going to come in and coach by chastising. It's a guy that's going to coach by uplifting and developing and making people better around him. And that is the Clemson culture. See, I think this is what I've been yelling at Clemson fans the whole time. You don't have to lose your identity. I guess I shouldn't say Clemson. This is what I've been yelling at Dabo the whole time. You don't have to surrender your identity as a program in order to utilize the transfer portal. You don't have to surrender your identity as a program to embrace NIL. You don't have to surrender your identity as a program to hire the best coaches available, not the best coaches available that came up through the Clemson way, but just the best coaches available. You can still have your identity. You can still have that power of positivity radiating, emanating from your program while being a modern-day contemporary football program. Dabo's embraced the portal. Dabo's embraced NIL. And Dabo has now hired a Power 4 successful and experienced guy to come in and run that. Now, he already did it with Riley, right? Riley was the hottest OC name in the game when he got hired by the Clemson Tigers. We have to acknowledge that. But now he's done it twice with both of his coordinator positions. I think we got to give the flowers over to Dabo Swinney. I think Dabo looked at it and went, maybe my way doesn't work. Maybe the old ways don't work. Maybe it's time to put the old ways to bed and embrace contemporary modern college football. And if Clemson is going to rise to prominence, they had to do it now, not wait another year or two. It needed to be done now. And it looks like Dabo's bought into that and is doing that. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Perfect. The button didn't work.
Fans to make their Super Bowl commercials. So we are asking Super Bowl experts, you guys, to see what you like best. You ready? Let's watch.
That's true.
Okay, what do we think about the commercials?
Personally, I like the one with the chip.
I think they all had chips. Did you find any of these ads cheesy?
Very cheesy.
Very cheesy.
Very cheesy.
You've been in a lot of commercials. What do you think about these?
I mean, I felt like the acting was great, honestly. And as an actor, like you said, I feel like I'm a really good evaluator of talent.
I like that it was cinematic, but it was real.
Right.
Who's that?
I can't believe
Center.
Patrick was in one. It's
Center.
kind of weird to see a commercial. without
Oh, this is all Chiefs?
Definitely.
How about you, sir? You've been quiet.
It's the mascot.
Speechless.
I know the center's name really well, but as someone who keeps forgetting names, when you ask me, as I'm watching him, staring at a receiver who's making fun of him doodling, it's a good commercial.
Do I have 30 seconds to grab a water?
Yes. I refuse to look up his name. I'm going to remember it.
Ingles Markets is a proud sponsor of the Wire to Wire Sports Bet. From the playing field to the stands to your own living room, Ingles Markets has everything you need to fuel your athlete or satisfy all the hungry fans in your life. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
There's a large group of people in America who like bourbon. Almost all of America likes bacon. Let's put those two things together, shall we? At the 2024/25 Bourbon and Bacon Fest. We had to reschedule. That just gave us more time to make it bigger and better than ever before. It is January 17th at the Foundry at Judson Mill. You are going to be able to sample craft bourbons from around the country. You are going to be able to sample bacon-centric dishes from some of the most talented culinary artists in the upstate, and you're doing it all for a good cause. As Bourbon and Bacon Fest benefits Carolina Adaptive Golf, an incredible organization.
Still can't remember. I've been wrecking my brain all this time.
I feel like it's going to be one of those things that when you do recall, you're going to slap yourself.
Well, no, because I'll forget I was trying to remember. So, getting old stinks.
Can you take me higher? Down to a place where blind men see. Bow, wow, wow. What's the name of that band?
See, I would have remembered. It's Creed Humphrey. I would have remembered. Thank you for the hint. That's a problem. I know his name, and I hate that. I can't tell you a center on any other team, but I knew his name. And plus, he just met Creed like a month ago. I think the better question, Stephen, is how are those porky treats?
Students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, January 17th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Sample bourbons and whiskeys from well-known distilleries while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants. Text BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com. Text and data rates may apply. Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, January 17th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Sample bourbons and whiskeys from well-known distilleries while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants. Text BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com. Text and data rates may apply.
Can't wait to hear what's next on Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel.
Tell me what's coming up. Deion Sanders is laying down some new rules in Colorado. But is he in the right? We talked to former Burns Rebel and former ECU running back Rajay Harris on his future potential in the NFL. And a segment we call, How Does That Guy Still Have a Job? You can call in and participate at 844-FAN-PHONE. Diesel and Cole Bryson really bring it on Wire to Wire.
Turn it on and leave it on.
Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate.
I'm anti-Creed at the moment, so I mean, you can talk to Rob about it. Worst experience, one of the worst experiences I've ever had. So in public, not Creed's fault, by the way, but you know, still blaming them. I won't blame Switchfoot though. I'll blame Creed.
Whatever.
Steaming through the final hour of the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Steaming, does that mean moving fast?
Yeah, man. Like a freight train.
Oh, like a steam engine?
Yeah.
Well, those things are kind of slow, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a train guy.
That's something an old guy would say.
Is old guys are a train thing? Or
Are you doing a countdown? Till your birthday. See, you've already forgotten that your birthday is like next month, right?
End of February.
Are you doing a countdown?
No, I'm not.
Counting
I'm
down-
not.
counting down days till you're officially old.
I mean, listen, I think old's a state of mind, right?
Oh,
Don't you?
without a doubt.
Yeah.
This is the Lost Boys live here, but still,
Anybody who's seen our office knows that's the case.
or where we're at right now.
That's also true. That's also true. No, I don't care. I think I've embraced 40 at this point. Like I think I've just embraced it. Like, yeah, dude.
Until you get home and see the Lordy, look who's 40 stuff.
Oh, I do have a story for you that you'll appreciate. Sunday, Swamp Rabbit game. I'm working the game, right? I'm the in-arena MC for those of you that don't know. I'm working the game Sunday. And there are down in the tunnel, there's a group of 3 or 4. There's a group of people who work the games together, right? We got our Alexis who runs the show. She's my bestie. She's great. And then there's like 3 or 4 college kids who work in the tunnel. They're doing internships for college credit from Clemson.
Younglings. They're younglings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And, as the guy who basically for what's happening on the floor down, I'm pretty much in charge of what happens down there. And I report up to Alexis who says, we need this and this. I go make it happen. There's a group of interns down there, young people. Okay. Adults, but young people. And so we're in the tunnel and we were trying to do something for social media or something. And we were talking about some of the guys on the team. And one of them pointed out that one of the guys on the team was born in 2005. And I just went, ugh. And one of the girls that was down there working, she's like, what are you and about, Rob Brown? And I was like, how old do you think I am? Now, I've asked that question over my career. And ordinarily, people have guessed younger than I actually am. Like historically throughout my career.
Same here. And I don't know. I almost think that they're just being nice.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think historically people have guessed younger because I moisturize. All right. I got good skin. I moisturize. I take care of my hair and my skin. I moisturize.
I'm failing here. You've made me snort laugh twice.
I'm good at this. I'm very funny. But also not joking. I moisturize. All right. That ain't trying to look like a skin bag when I turn 40.
Do you
all
wear
right?
like the mask? At night?
No, you just get you a good hydrating lotion and give yourself a little rub a dub in the evenings before you go night. You'll get Lonzo. We'll get those crow feet right off your eyes up there, man.
Yeah, I'm almost 60. Probably not going away. And I don't believe that stuff. Oh, your wrinkles will go away. Well, whatever. I earned these wrinkles.
So I said, how old do you think I am? And historically speaking, I usually get pegged for younger than I actually am, right? Like, you're 34, 32, 33, which, okay, great. I said, how old do you think I am? And this girl who I would say she's probably 20, she looks at me and she goes, 48? And I just went, ugh. I said, why? And she goes, well, I mean, it's not bad. I like it, but it's like the gray hair and you make a noise when you sit down. And it just, I just think you're like, yeah, I'm close, right? I was like, yeah.
The ear hair. Remember, you nearly broke down.
Yeah, but it's just one. There's one.
By the way,
it's on my ear. It's on this little pointy part of my ear. It's not like coming out of my ears.
That one will no matter how much you do, it will come back. So that's just how that works.
And I know that because about a week ago, we've been married for what's today, January 14th, December, January, not even 4 months now, right? Not even a quarter of a year. And
have you remembered your 4-month anniversary?
It'll be the 21st of this month.
Okay,
Actually,
I didn't know if you were doing that.
Yeah. Listen, we got married on the 21st night of September for a reason, because I ain't no dummy, right? I'll never forget
Except
that.
for that was not a good rendition.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? Okay, the point here is blah 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 blah. We were in bed the other night. I was watching football or whatever I'm watching, basketball, whatever I'm watching, and I'm obsessive compulsive, like diagnosed obsessive compulsive. When something's off, I can't help but like fiddle with it. Right? It's just a thing. And I have like one ear, like one hair that's coming out of like the little pointy point part of my earlobe down here, like on the inside, you know, there's a name for it. I don't know what it is. And I was just kind of fidgeting with that one hair because I was too lazy to get out of bed and do anything about it. But I was just fidgeting. And the lady's like, can I pluck it? Can I pluck that ear hair? And because if there's one thing that I like to do, it's make the wife happy.
No, you didn't let it. Oh,
I said, if that is what you want. If you're telling me you've never had if you don't have this wife, good for you. But I think most of us have been with the woman who is obsessed with popping your zits for you when you get one.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
That's just a woman thing. No man can explain it. But every woman seizes it and she attacks it like it owes her money.
Yeah, 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been married 32 years, but that stuff stops when you get a certain age.
We have
'Cause
transitioned.
You're dying and you can no longer,
we have transitioned out of, let me pop that zit into, can I pluck that one ear here? And I was like, hey, if that's what's going to make you happy, go bananas. It's one less thing I got to do, right? Because it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things. I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, yeah, pluck that ear hair today.
The 20-somethings listening now and just like.
It's going to happen to you.
It will happen.
Junior.
Yes, it will.
Listen up, slugger. It's going to happen to you, Tiger.
Hopefully you will remember when you get there going, they told me.
Yep. It's going to happen to you, Tiger. I was 25 yesterday. I was in the best shape of my life yesterday. Now I eat like a taco and I put on 8 pounds and I have an ear hair. All right. It is what it is. So she goes, can I pluck it? And I'm like, whatever's going to make you happy. It's one less thing I got to remember to do tomorrow. And so she gets out of the bed, moves the covers, moves the sheet, moves the dog, walks across the bedroom to grab her tweezers and come back to the bed. She pulls this thing out and she's like, I got it. You have ear hair now. Okay. Hilarious, ma'am. Freaking hilarious. Thank you. So she throws it away. She comes back to the bed. She lays down. I'm like, awesome. Dude, and I'm not kidding you, 4 days later, it's back. I can feel it back. It's growing back. Not long, but when your beard, that 5 o'clock shadow first comes out and it's got that kind of rough feel to it. It's that. And I'm like, it's 4 days. It was 4 days ago, 3.5 days ago, this happened. Where I, as a young man, had my wife say, can I pluck your ear hair? To which I had to say, yeah, go ahead. And she did. And then it just has the audacity to grow back before it hadn't stopped hurting from when she plucked it. And it's back. Are you kidding me? So I have embraced the 40. I accept the 40. I'm good with it, to the point that a 20-year-old girl said, what are you, 48? And I went, all right, it doesn't hurt my feelings anymore. The hair is graying up very rapidly. I want you to know the hair is still thick and luxurious as it's ever been. All right. Letting it come back out, starting to get the little curls going in the back. The hair's still good. I got the texture, the body, the length, the volume, the layers. Still got it. But I'll be damned if there's not a rogue gray streak starting to show up right there in the front. And now I got a wife pulling ear hair that grows back in a minute. I've embraced it. But it's not easy. It's not easy. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Sorry, stream. You couldn't hear what I did. Some people got it, though. Yeah, if you break it, then you're not going to be able to. So, whose Christmas balls are those?
Mine, because
I told Cole it was yours, and I said he brought them in. He won't put them up though. So I took a bet. You're busy. It's this. They'll be there next year because you're not going to take them anywhere unless someone else does. So I mean,
So I was going to set us up a studio Christmas tree.
Ah, okay.
I was going to put us up a tree. And then I didn't do that. That's it. That's the story.
Okay.
I was going to make us a station tree. And then I didn't do that. So we meet again, Blue Cane. Like, I know they're not, but in my head, Kane and Blue Cane are the same person, and we're watching a wrestling plot play out in real life. We have a Kane identity crisis happening right now.
See, in my mind, they're both wearing masks and we're being told they're twins, even though they're like different heights and shapes.
No, there's just one Kane, but he's like each version of Kane is doing battle for the headspace in actual Kane's
I
head.
wish a third Kane would show up just because, I mean, not because I asked for it, but just, organically a third Kane show up.
Wait until Gain shows up.
If Cocaine shows up, I will play the song for him. Do you ever have a fear that eventually people won't get your musical references? Because you're truly so old.
Already happened.
I mean, all my stuff's on classic rock stations now, so I mean.
Yeah, so's mine. That's the problem. The Rob Brown Show on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate final segment of this lovely Tuesday morning. Rob and the Great Malonzo with you here, 844-326-3663. If you want to sneak in before the end of the show, the Ray Memorial Hotline is available on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Grab it, put it on all of your digital devices. Go on the Odyssey app to the Fan Upstate page. Click on the Leave a Voice Memo button and leave us up to 60 seconds of whatever it is that you would like to get to. A couple of thoughts on the way out the door. I don't really have like a long acknowledgement of this, but I do think it is something I wanted to bring up. John Calipari is the head coach of the Arkansas Razorback basketball team.
How many teams does he coach for?
A few. Left Kentucky, obviously. There was some drama happening at the Big Blue Nation, so he took off. Well, John Cal found himself on the losing end of a 76-52 L to Tennessee, then a 73-66 L to Ole Miss, and then a 71-63 L to Florida. I don't know when the last time John Calipari had a 3-game losing streak going, but I know it's clearly not going well for him right now. And after their last game, John Cal took to the podium, and he said this.
Got a tough one coming up. I didn't even know when we play. I was hoping it was Wednesday. But I knew it'd be on the road because we've had 2 homes. And all of a sudden, it is. So we got to do something tomorrow, do something on Monday, travel, and go on the road and try to get this thing right.
Can I just say, if I was Hog Nation, Suey, I would not be cool with my head coach saying that he doesn't know when, where, or whomst against our next game is. Is that just me? Like, I just saw a bunch of people showing up. I just saw a bunch of people showing up and being like, oh, you know, how goofy and relatable. No! Are you kidding me? My head coach, a man whom the Arkansas Razorbacks are paying more money than they have ever paid any basketball coach ever to do the basketball coaching, just straight up told his fan base, you know, I wasn't really sure when or where or who against our next game was. Is that not a real bad look, or am I crazy? That feels like a real bad look to me. To have a head coach who actively says intentionally and out loud, yeah, I wasn't really sure when the next time the basketball team that I'm getting paid $20+ million a year to coach was. I don't know what the actual contract number is. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The point is he's getting paid a lot of money, and he doesn't know when the next game is. I'm not asking him to tell me like, hey, coach, who's your last game in February against? I don't need you to have the whole schedule memorized at this point. I need you to tell me, when's your next game? Who's it against? Because if you're not, you know what that says to me? What that says to me is, you ain't prepared, dog. You ain't prepared. When Rob Brown has some sort of endorsement or live read or whatever come out of the show, Lonzo gives me like a couple of segments a heads up. Hey, we got this coming up down the pipe. Why? So I can prepare for it. You're telling me I got a basketball coach here who's not prepped for a game 4 days later? He's not at least thinking about it. That's not a good look, John Cal. I already understood why Kentucky split from you, but that's not great, Bob. That's not great. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
We were just talking about being old. He's old. He forgot. Or he's got people to tell him that.
Dog, if it gets to the point that I show up at 7:15 and I go, oh, I forgot the radio was happening. That's a bad look. It's a bad look. Real bad look.
Yeah, if you show up at 7:15, that's definitely a problem.
Hey, Mike McCarthy's not the head coach of the Cowboys anymore. Whomst might it be?
The gigantic story of the day, Dallas has an opening at head coach. Thought it was interesting. Troy said maybe not coveted. We get that it's still Dallas and there's going to be interest. Where are they looking?
Well, it is the Cowboys, and they have spoken with, amongst other candidates, Deion Sanders. There is a mutual interest there. And I go back to about a year and a half ago when I had a former general manager say to me, watch Deion Sanders. There's a real possibility he may be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, there is mutual interest. We'll see if that amps up. But the two sides have talked, they have touched base, and we'll see if it goes anywhere.
Shefty said that there's a chance, not just a chance, but a good chance that Neon Deion Primetime Sanders might be headed to become the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm intrigued by this story, not because I'm super intrigued by Deion as an NFL coach. To keep it a buck with you, I'm not. I don't think that the shtick will be as effective in the NFL as it is in college football.
He doesn't need that. All he needs is to have the right assistant coaches when he comes to Dallas, and everything will be fine. And he probably has, as a lot of people have speculated, the ability to get away with things that other coaches won't because of his relationship with Jerry Jones.
So I would ask you to clarify what you mean by that, because if the head coaching thing is correct,
get to actually run the show.
First off, let me make this prediction. That's going to be hilariously catastrophic for that exact reason. Because Jerry Jones is going to be completely and entirely unable to cede control. And Deion, I'm going to tell you right now, Deion's going to make demand. I think this is speculation. Let me be clear. I am not saying that this is the truth. I am saying I expect it to be the truth. Deion is going to make demand number one before he signs a contract that Jerry will have to honor. He will have to. Now, so that we are clear, the reason that we are talking about this is that Deion yesterday said that he had received a phone call from Jerry Jones, took that phone call from Jerry Jones, and that he was, and I quote, intrigued, end quote, by the job. Now, he did say, right now our focus is on Buffaloes. It's on Colorado. It's on this campus. It's on these young men. And that's all well and good. But I would also like to point out that he also said all those things when he was at Jackson State, and then he said, bleep this, I'm taking that Colorado money, baby.
Maybe intrigued means he's just waiting for more money.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be more money. It could be, as I believe that it is, to be honest with you, I also believe there is a better than good chance that he's waiting on Jerry to say, yeah, Deion, if you sign, I will do whatever it takes to have Shedeur end up a Cowboy. Would that blow anybody's mind? I doubt it. I doubt it. So, I mean, he's already helicopter dadding Shedeur. He went with him to visit the Giants. He went with them to visit the Raiders. And don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about that, like at all. When I was in my transition from being a young, dumb idiot to being a slightly older, dumb idiot, but one who had a job, I ran everything by my old man. I run everything by my mom nowadays. I want the guidance and the advice, right? I'm not mad at that. Good on Deion for being active and involved in, and especially from somebody who obviously has a wealth of background information from exactly where Shedeur is going to the NFL next. Good. I'm not upset about that. What I am saying is, would it be shocking to any of us if Deion made a condition of accepting this job? A job I do think Jerry Jones wants, because if nothing else, Jerry Jones box offifies the Dallas Cowboys, right? He wants it to be a show as much as he wants it to be a successful football team. And if he gets Deion, even if Deion, before Deion wins his first game, JJ gets to go, look at me. I got the boys back in the prime time where they belong. I got the boys back in the prime time where the Dallas Cowboys should always be. That's a win for Jerry. And if Jerry gets to claim that as a win, then my next question becomes, how much is Jerry willing to invest in that? How much is Jerry willing to put on the table for that? Because, again, I think it is going to come at the mandatory price of ensuring that Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. However, the Cowboys are drafting 12th. The Cowboys, again, drafting 12th. And if the Cowboys are drafting 12th, they will likely have to go all the way up to number 2 at the lowest to ensure Shedeur Sanders. Because there are only 2 quarterbacks in the first round that I think I would say I genuinely consider a first round pick. Cam Ward out of Miami, Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. And if that is indeed the case, as I believe sincerely that it is, you likely have to go up to number 1 overall to ensure that you end up with Shedeur Sanders. And if I have to go to number 1 overall to ensure Shedeur Sanders, that means I got to make a trade with the Tennessee Titans. And if I got to make a trade with the Tennessee Titans, who, by the way, have the leverage in this situation and the ability to say, hey, JJ, we want a king's ransom for the number 1 overall pick. You will give us every draft pick that you have this year in order to get number 1 overall. And Jerry's got to decide which is more valuable to him, the attention, the publicity, the notoriety, the constant and unending and never ceasing and always in your face coverage of the career of Deion Sanders. Or, not that, but he keeps all his draft picks. Which one of those is more valuable? And now Jerry Jones has to be general manager. Jerry Jones, not team owner, not team publicist, not team PR firm. No. Jerry's got to make a decision about what's best for the Dallas Cowboys as a football team, or decide that the publicity and the coverage is more important to him than the draft picks. And again, maybe Jerry genuinely, honestly, completely, for real, no jokes, you guys, believes that Deion Sanders is going to be a legendary NFL coach, which maybe he will, maybe he won't. We shall find out.
Say, what if he is?
Maybe he is. In which case, Jerry Jones will come out looking like and smelling like a damn genius, won't he? So, maybe it works out. Maybe he's right. Maybe Deion Sanders ends up looking like becoming we'll find out, legitimately a very good NFL head coach. Maybe it works out. But if it doesn't, JJ's just going to look like an idiot again. Not that matters to him.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right. As we check out what the X is going on, we might as well kind of stay where we are. The first thing that's Xing is Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman is Xing because he was on the call with Joe Buck last night, and he said something dumb that I missed.
Oh, no. He said something, and I don't have the exact quote, very disparaging about the coaching job for Dallas.
If JJ's lost T-Roy, he really does have problems. Troy has been an unabashed and unashamed Cowboy lover, which sure he was. We wouldn't even know who the hell Troy Aikman is if it wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys. I get it.
Has he lost Michael Irvin yet? I don't know if he loses both of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about, here's the thing. You were talking about losing two very different demographics if you lose both Mike and Troy. But most importantly, you've lost the only two of the three triplets that anybody cares about anymore. Right? Like Emmett doesn't do anything. Nobody cares.
He does some wonderful commercials. Acting is
Emmett Smith's a jerk.
Spectacular.
Emmett Smith's a jerk.
Yeah, I know. I was being sarcastic. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Godzilla.
I don't know why it's Xing. I do know Godzilla versus Kong, A New Kingdom, I think it was in it, showed up on HBO the other day. So, give me some more summertime, popcorn, blockbuster, big monsters fighting in city movies, and I'm all in. Also, Monarch was a really good TV show, and I liked it a lot, and I want more of it.
All right, gotta be honest, I couldn't figure out why, but it's Godzilla. So, I mean...
Always good with that.
Yeah. All right.
Big Godzilla guy over here.
The next thing that's Xing is Holly Holm.
I got nothing. I got home. That's the one who kicked Ronda Rousey's head off a few years ago.
Say, you know who she is. She is no longer with UFC, and people are rejoicing because they don't have to see her lose again in another main event.
She was not doing great.
Yeah, it was not.
She kicked Ronda Rousey's head off, and then she just kind of
she was
not
champ
anything after that.
I think
she was champ for a while.
Bit. Not for a long.
Yeah,
bit,
but not
bit.
She basically took the notoriety from kicking Ronda Rousey into a different dimension, and then didn't do anything with it.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I saw something happen with him too. Like is he done with UFC as well?
Oh, this says he's been retired for a long time.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with it. He was escorted off of an airplane.
I did see that.
Do you know why?
I do not.
Okay.
Why am I talking like this?
I don't know. There's an emergency exit, and the person who's in the emergency row is in charge of getting people off. And because some people complained that he acted like he didn't speak enough English to do it. And so there was a back and forth, and they had to finally get him off the plane. Does he have a case there? I mean, I've never flown before. I didn't know this existed.
This is going to be, if he decides to take this to court for some reason, this is going to be a case of nuance versus safety, because like on one hand, like I whenever I can and I fly, I book the emergency exit because you get an extra like 8 inches of foot space, right? And as a man of my raw, unbridled physique, I would like the leg room. I'm a tall guy.
So it's a swole chair.
It's more foot room. I'm tall. I get more foot room.
Okay, all right.
But a condition of sitting there is you have to listen to, understand the flight instructors, and you have to acknowledge back to her that you heard and understand that. So if he doesn't speak excellent English to the point that the flight crew feels uncomfortable leaving him in that role of public safety, it is absolutely their discretion to move him. But if he was moved because other passengers said, this cat doesn't speak English and I'm not comfortable with that, and the flight crew didn't have the conversation about, that's where a discrimination suit could come in. And yes, this is going to shock you. There are some racist people who judge people just on the way they look, speak, and act. and that's not great. But if I'm on an airplane and I know that the dude in front of the exit row doesn't know what the hell the exit row is, then I would have a problem.
Or
right?
if he does and he's speaking in another language that nobody else on the plane gets, then he can't give you instructions, right?
And on top of that, did anybody from the flight crew go, hey, man, listen, we need for you to confirm to us
there's
in
video.
English?
There's video.
Okay.
I can see it. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. You know what else we'll see? You all tomorrow when we come back. Bang, I am good at this. Hey, Zonzo, I'm Rob. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. Later. I don't know what I'm doing. Get off plane, brother. To the scene of Harrison Ford and Con Air, but it's him.
It's not Con Air. Harrison Ford.
Not
Con Air.
Con Air. This is
Air Force One.
Air Force One. Get off plane. Oh man. Blue Cane with the heel turn there. I see you.
How do you know it's a turn? Maybe he was already a heel.
Okay. With the heel promo.
There we
That-
go. There we go.
All right, dudes. I got a jet. We got stuff happening. I appreciate you all being here. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to get rich and famous. Have a lovely rest of your day. You're all amazing people. Love you. Goodbye.